And you're live.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Welcome to sunny Nashville, Tennessee. We're here at the Grid One Motorsports Studio today for debate festivities. We have a good one today. We're going to be talking about prohibition with JS Urban Adventures here. He is a blogger, a streamer, politics guy, philosophy, and a protest provocateur. And then we have Wicked Wally, a deviser of devious dad jokes, 6 times verbal combat champ, 2 times ultimate verbal championship winner, and we're going to get into prohibition. I guess, boys, cheers to prohibition.
Cheers
and
to
we'll get going. There we go. We're gonna have a party, fellas. Start off
Alcohol abuse.
Salute, as my father would say in jail next up. Now, hey, welcome everybody. And so it looks like you're going to be the affirmative, taking the pro position. We'll let you get an opening, and we'll go to Wally. So take us away.
All right. What's up, guys? Thank you to Grid One for throwing the event. Thank you to Wally for finally doing this debate with me. This was scheduled a long time ago, and
it was scheduled again inside of 48 hours.
Yep. And so we're finally doing it. All right. Bring back prohibition. Alcoholism is not a disease. It is a belief system. Anyone who believes they have the belief under control but would argue that alcohol is a right or a commodity worthy of government taxation is an alcoholic. I believe in the prohibition of alcohol for all the societal and health benefits, as well as cultural benefits, not only for myself, but more importantly for my imaginary children and grandchildren. First of all, allow me to list some of the societal benefits of prohibition. Wife beating and deadbeat dads, abusive or not present fathers, decreased by 82%. Assault decreased by 535%. Vagrancy declined over 52%. Disorderly conduct was down 51%. Delinquency was cut in half. Deaths from cirrhosis was cut in half. The number of people in jails was reduced by 75%, which led to some jails closing. That number later went up due to mafioso incarceration, which will help when my opponent's argument inevitably tends towards organized crime and a rise in it. Domestic complaints in general decreased by 2/3. County hospitalization rates reached historic lows. Prostitution decreased nationally. National crime rate decreased overall 38%, except in Chicago, where it only decreased 25%, even though the public narrative was one of extreme mafia terror pervading the city. American savings accounts on average tripled. The amount of insurance policies written doubled. So if you're a Luigi Mangione fan, you might like that. Real estate values increased. Attendance at churches, schools, and jobs increased, and attendance at welfare missions decreased. All of these variables considered independently don't mean much, but taken together are substantial, especially when you observe them all returning to their normal levels after prohibition ended. The prohibition of alcohol through the Volstead Act and the record-breaking speed of the ratification of the 18th Amendment had an overall societal benefit on the United States. The end of prohibition was not due to a failure in policy, but a breakdown in American economy, which led to the necessity of sin taxes or vice taxes in the midst of the Great Depression. I'm not okay with the government taxation and promotion of smoking, drinking, gambling, and prostitution. My position is surprisingly more anti-capitalist than most of my other beliefs. A rise in GDP does not justify allowing society to engage in self-harm and activities that lead to harms of others. I support something similar to the Volstead Act's restriction on transportation and distribution with a slight alteration to the production aspect. I would allow individual production on personal property for personal consumption. Legislators would need to settle on a safe size still for personal use because we don't want 1,000-gallon stills exploding and wiping out entire trailer parks. With a limit on production, people would be able to brew their own beer, wine, or liquor without the threat of burning down the neighborhood. Restrictions on transportation and distribution or sales would disincentivize mass production and marketing of alcoholic beverages. This legislation, backed by strong anti-alcohol propaganda campaigns, would seriously discourage Americans from being fat drunks like Homer Simpson. I expect selfish arguments of, but I like buying my Miller and my Jim Beam, or arguments from hypocrisy like, but Josh, you buy your alcohol from the store, both of which are weak and I am prepared to rebut. I see a cultural problem, and I hope for a world where my imaginary children and grandchildren won't have to see this problem, regardless of my selfish desire to drink easily and cheaply. Many people on my opponent's side would argue for banning pornography or prostitution. but would be against an alcohol ban because they like alcohol. I am a prohibitionist because I am consistent. This isn't about what I like, but about what is right. It's likely this debate will turn into, but what about cigarettes? What about sugar? What about caffeine? All of these I would consider on a case-by-case basis, and if there's conclusive evidence that can be found to demonstrate their detriment on society, I'd be okay with banning them too. In conclusion, these are just some of the reasons I support alcohol prohibition, and I look forward to a spirited debate, as they say. And I concede my time.
Well, thank you so much for that. Boys, if you don't mind, I know this is our first bit, so we're going to have a couple technical issues work through. Could you pull y'all's microphones closer to each other so that they a better sound? Fantastic. I'm going to give you about the same amount of time to do the opening. Here at the end, when we get to the end, I will let y'all know before closing. I'll let y'all have 3 minutes.
Is this raised
each.
Is
I don't think it raised. I think you're just going to have to.
Don't start messing with stuff, Wally.
Yeah, but go ahead, Wally, and take us off with your opening, and then we'll get into the opens.
Well, Josh, I have to hand it to you. You started out with something that I agreed with, and we almost didn't have a debate when you said alcoholism is not a disease, it's a state of mind, it's a belief system. I completely agree. You then listed off a bunch of issues that had nothing to do with alcohol, and at the time of Prohibition, were much easier explained as a more culturally lax attitude towards things such as child abuse and wife beating that was undertaken by people who drank too much. So I would love to see why we would even need prohibition when we've had attitudes against those increase over time. There's more support for people who are victimized by irresponsible addicts. We have a lot more options for treatment. And again, as far as the spousal abuse, yeah, that's bad. I would never advocate for, say, I want people to drink because I like wives getting beaten up. No, I think we had a very lax attitude in 1920 when a drunken Irishman such as myself could have come home from the bar after a nice stumble in constitutional, beaten his wife, and people would have looked at it and said, well, that's just the way things are. We've moved past that as a society, and we handle alcohol a lot more responsibly as a society, arguably, than we used to. I don't have any personal problems with alcohol because any other aspect of it being sold does not affect my life. It's not against my religious beliefs. It's not against any other beliefs of mine. I believe people should be able to handle it responsibly. We've expanded prohibition to a lot of states. I don't know the exact number, but they've legalized recreational marijuana use in some cases, and there's a whole argument there where people say, well, if we keep legalizing things, we'll just have more use. And I think at some point that argument ceases to hold water. I think if we ended all prostitution of all illegal drugs, or not prostitution, but prohibition, but I'm drinking, don't mind me. You could say people prostitute the drugs and that's a sale. So we'll say it works. We'll roll with it. But no, if you suddenly, of course, I will grant people, yeah, you legalize marijuana, more people are going to try it. But most people don't have a bad opinion of it anymore at the rate that they used to, because this isn't 1960 anymore, and we don't have the same irrational fears about smoking a plant that we used to. Now, heroin, cocaine, meth, those are very different. Those ruin communities, those ruin people's lives. The public opinion of them does not continue to improve. We have instances where they've tried to have protections for heroin users, get your clean needles, have a safe place to be an addict, and it doesn't work. It keeps ruining those communities. People aren't getting a better opinion of heroin use because of that. You could never make a heroin dispensary work. It would fail under a free market. Same in most markets. I'm convinced of that. Same thing as in a lot of people wouldn't just be like, oh, let's just casually try Coke. Well, no, this isn't the 80s. This isn't the 70s. We know what it does to heavy users who think they can be like Starface. So as far as, how much time have I got?
You're fine. Keep going.
Okay. I don't know. I can talk and lose track, and then it feels like forever.
Yeah, a minute and a half of that.
Well, no. Josh listed off a lot of problems that he wants to get rid of alcohol for, as if alcohol would now fix these problems again. But clearly, I would like to see how any of those are the fault of the alcohol in and of itself. The problem is responsibility, and we need to tell people to not be such a dumbass and learn to drink responsibly, like the commercials we already put out as propaganda say.
All right. Well, that was good. I'm pretty excited for this debate as a personal fan of marijuana and alcohol. So I am ready to hear y'all's thoughts.
Cheers.
So cheers back. Go ahead and stick them, boys.
All right, so you're leaning on the societal acceptance of this thing. You're saying over time society has started to, accept alcohol, but that would never happen with heroin or cocaine or anything like that. How do you know that wouldn't happen? How do you know that once it was legalized and once it was marketed and once it was profitable, that they wouldn't have marketing campaigns and advertising campaigns and push people towards normalizing these behaviors?
Josh, before states like Massachusetts and Colorado started legalizing marijuana, was there a observable improvement in the public opinion of marijuana consumption? Because there had been a push for medical marijuana for a very long time. The federal government actually had medical marijuana at one point. About 7 people, last I checked, are still alive who qualify for it, and we still send them free government weed for the rest of their natural lives.
Okay.
So there's been many years of discussion over the health benefits for people who are medical marijuana patients. Over time, the positive messaging about it has improved the public perception of it. Now, there are no long-term positive effects of meth consumption, of cocaine consumption, of being a crackhead, of being a heroin addict. There are no long-term benefits.
Okay,
Nobody is saying
alcohol. What are the long-term positive effects of alcohol?
Well, why do there have to be long-term positive effects? For most people, it's a social activity that you do with friends and family during special occasions, holidays, social with what have you. Nobody's drinking alcohol because it's going to make you 3 inches shorter, grow your hair back.
Yeah, but so with the Volstead Act, you could still consume alcohol on your property.
But you couldn't get it.
But you couldn't buy it at the store. You wouldn't see a billboard for it.
So this is going to bring me into a very interesting point that you made, which is you're saying that you support private production of alcohol for personal consumption, but yet you couldn't bring that up without throwing all of the market there into being a bunch of trailer park dwelling yokels who are going to cause mass scale explosions in their neighborhood because apparently you think they're too fucking stupid because they drink too much fucking alcohol.
Well, we're not worried about the harm to society from rich people who have a little bit of brandy with dinner or a little bit of wine with dinner. We're worried about the people in the trailer parks and the people on the streets who panhandle $20 so they can go buy a 40 every morning.
Let me just ask a question real quick, just to clarify with that statement. You said you're not worried about the people, the brandy drinkers at dinner that are the rich guys. Are you advocating that the rich people are going to be able to brew alcohol safely on their own property and then drink it, and they're going to just take this expense on the head on their own?
Yeah, I'm saying that if this would incentivize people to get a job, buy some land. If you want to drink, buy some land, build a house, have a place to live, and then you can make your little keg of wine.
Is this your stance with prohibition for other substances as well?
Tobacco.
What about coke? Like, what about grow coca leaves?
No. So it'd be
Josh, my name is Walter. Can I cook my own meth? I'm supposed to be allowed to under my federal name. I have qualifications.
No, but this is a policy debate, and in a policy debate, we're going to go case by case. We're going to talk about each issue.
Okay.
So we're talking about alcohol right now.
All right, so let's dig into that a little bit more with the whole private consumption, because I really think what you're going to end up doing there is you're going to create stuff that from a free market isn't much of a problem, but you're going to have situations where these rich people you're not worried about are probably just going to turn their vineyards into alcohol production.
You said just so earlier, though, right? You just said that the heroin dispensary would never work. I would argue that heroin dispensary.
It would work for the heroin addicts, but I don't think you would. What I'm saying is,
So I guess what is the policy that you're proposing? You just want to keep the current policy, or do you want something different?
Well,
Since he's proposing
I think we
prohibition.
should. I wouldn't change alcohol. I think we should just expand the marijuana prohibition and end it completely. I'm fine with now how we can. Now, if you want to regulate heroin, cocaine in a different direction where we can combat the crime problem while not expanding the amount of users, I'd be open to having that conversation.
Well, that's interesting because you said you like let's liken your scenario to the Brandy scenario, right? That you just made, right? You made this scenario. Hey, I want a glass of brandy. What's wrong with like say a stockbroker railing a line of cocaine off a hooker, and then going back and doing his job all weekend? Like, isn't that the same equivalency? Both of y'all should answer this.
No.
No. Why not? And then I want to hear what you thought.
Well, so I guess hooking, prostitution.
Forget the hooker part. Let's just say what's a real line.
Prostitution in your own home.
No,
is called
Josh just really
Let's
can't rule out the fact that he's like, if I'm going to do cocaine, I want to snort it off a hooker's stomach.
Sure. Let's just say you do. Well, to be fair, I'm the one who said the hooker. Let's just say you rail a line on your desk, and then you go back to like typing your TPS reports. And like, what's the harm in that? But like, and then. Both seem against both of y'all seem against that.
The harm in that is you're going to go to jail if you get caught buying it.
Well, wouldn't they go to jail if they got caught buying beer?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
Well, do I think someone should be doing cocaine in general? No. I would also say I don't think they should be doing hard time in federal prison because they have like maybe an ounce of cocaine.
It doesn't necessarily have to be hard time in federal prison. It could start with a fine on your first offense, and then it could be county jail over a certain amount of time.
Josh, we've had at least 2 presidents who are admitted cocaine users, even Obama
Lock 'em
admitted
up.
using cocaine. It's interesting.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is what's the fundamental difference between some of these drugs and alcohol? Because alcohol seems to cause a lot of problems with a lot of people when they have Alcoholics Anonymous, people ruin their lives. I don't know. Do you all have tangible evidence that
alcohol, I can say a lot about
it's
AA.
worse than say like Coke or something?
No, that's why I'm saying to make it illegal, because a lot of studies and a lot of evidence shows that it's just as destructive to people and people say pot's a gateway drug. I don't like the whole gateway drug thing because that's like saying an ollie is a gateway skateboard trick. But most of them start with alcohol.
That's like saying, yeah, I get it. That's like saying Legend of Zelda is a gateway to video games.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody really has a bad opinion of either one. And now, when we were going with the prohibition, I had a thought and then I lost it, so I'm sure I'll get back to it. Now,
I don't know. I'm not.
But
so
under
sure.
your policy suggestion with the private manufacturing, would you believe that may actually create more problems because you're going to have these wealthy people who you're saying, well, they're just going to sip their brandy on the weekend. Well, no, I don't think that's what they're going to do. They're going to turn their properties into vineyards. They're going to expand distilleries. They're just going to have large private sales of alcohol on their own property. You're going to have suddenly these people take their land and congregate it and take it into places where all these drunks are congregating and maybe giving them $5 or $10 to show up at their address and drink there.
Yeah, when they do that, they get caught and they lose their freedom.
But it's not illegal.
It is illegal to sell it. It's
Well,
illegal to transport and distribute.
Oh, there's loopholes that you could get around selling it. You could tell people, hey, I'm going to sell you a map to my house for $10. And when you get there, you can drink beer.
Yeah, we're selling the map instead of selling alcohol.
Okay.
Yes, Josh, if I can give you,
that would still be.
let me give this to him very clearly once more, just so he doesn't misunderstand.
You're saying they're going to find ways around.
Yes, so it's
and I found a loophole inside of 5 minutes, and I'm a drunken idiot, Josh. So how do you think the
I
system's
can tell you the loophole that you used in college, right? Was you would pay for the event. You'd
Yes.
be like, oh, I bought a cup, and then there was alcohol provided. So you're not paying for the alcohol.
Well, and I don't know if I have a problem with somebody throwing a party at their house and people are drinking at their house.
Like creative
We're
people
not
will
charging
find a
you
way
for
to
it.
profiteer on it. Like that's why some places would come up with the idea of, we'll charge a cover charge. You're not required to drink, but we're going to essentially tax you for being in our building and not drinking.
Yeah, so you would get speakeasies and you would get things like that. and I'm fine with that.
There's no speakeasies here. He's in Canada.
But this narrows the web of law enforcement down. So instead of chasing after vagrants on the streets who are drinking all day and doing consumption related
We
crimes,
don't do that now. Like drunken homeless people
do.
can go around cities.
the
and
police
bother
force is
people
spread
all day.
thin because of this. If we could narrow the police force down to one, they say.
Well, I don't think the police force is spread thin because of drunken homeless people. I think in some areas they're probably spread more thin because of violent drug offenses that they're required to engage in. So instead of
what about domestic assaults? Wouldn't that be something that would be caused of respect due to alcohol?
I don't believe it's the fault of the alcohol. I think in the case of domestic violence and anything like that, it's more so the fault of the person and their inability to manage the substance or recognize that they probably shouldn't be on it.
Imagine if they grew up in a world where they weren't shown commercials with hot girls drinking beers all day and billboards and gas stations selling beer and liquor stores on every corner.
Well, just like imagine if they didn't see all the stories about dysfunctional alcoholics on television and in movies and thought that, oh, I probably shouldn't live my life like this fictional character either.
So it's just social shaming, but the social shaming isn't working. You have the biggest social shame is having a criminal record and not being able to get a job or apartment. That will stigmatize something. That will socially shame people to not want to do it. But allowing it and just saying we're just going to make fun of you because you do it, that doesn't work.
Well, I think what actually is helpful is not actually social shaming per se, but actually trying to encourage people to put down their bad habits and do something productive with their lives and explain to them how they can do that. If you drink too much and you fall into AA, well, here's the problem with AA. If you're an alcoholic, you have now substituted the beverage for a cult because AA is essentially a cult.
Okay, I'm not.
The whole point of AA bottle with an almighty deity that they have invented and just call your higher power.
Well, it used to be God, but they took that out of it. But anyway.
Let me ask this, since you said it's a policy debate, this seems like a policy debate, but what are your prescribed consequences for if someone's breaking these laws? Like, what is going to be the law? Because you're saying it's going to lower police usage. What's going to happen if, like, say, I decided to brew the Guinness beer and sell it? Like, what, or like, to drink it off my property? What are some prescribed consequences you think is going to come from this policy?
Similar to what we have now, if you're drunk in public, maybe you spend the night in a drunk tank, pay a fine. If you're distributing alcohol, it'd be like distributing some harder drugs and stuff like that. If you're selling it out of your trunk and you get caught doing that, then it's going to be a more severe penalty.
Unless you have a loophole.
Yeah. Okay, but people are going to do loopholes for everything.
Well, and here's the thing, Josh. So let's
Should we legalize murder? Because some people are going to murder.
No. Let me unpack this with you a little bit for a second, and let's try to follow this out where this could lead. So you tell me, Wally, prohibition is now a thing, but you can still manufacture your own alcohol. Now, I'm an ambitious young Wally. Let's say that this happened more when I was in my 20s. I'm not likely to do this now, but I decide, hey, I'm going to sell maps to my property, and when people get here, I'm going to give them $20. I'll sell them for $20 when they get here. I'll give you $20 worth of booze, and you can drink it here, and then I send you on your way.
How are you going to manufacture that much? Because I also laid out
$20 worth, not 20 bucks.
No, but I laid out personal use. You can only distill for personal use. So how are you? I mean, what are you going to sell? You're going to sell a $20 bottle a week?
No, I'm selling a map to my house, and then I'm going to pour them 5 shots.
My point is, you're only going to have a limited amount that you're legally allowed to produce.
And when people start doing that, and then people start going blind because someone gave their neighbor bathtub moonshine,
this is the quality argument.
There is a quality argument because eventually you're going to have more and more people saying, you know what, this self-manufacturing isn't really working out. We should probably have some regulations on this alcohol.
There's not a quality argument because when I go to the grocery store, if I want the best vegetables and the best beef, I go to a local gardener and a local butcher. I don't get the plastic shit from the grocery store.
Well, do you realize with alcohol, when you're talking the best, the best is very subjective to different people. The best could be the safest. The best could be most likely to knock you on your ass for 5 days so you can't see straight.
And
Now, if I want the best alcohol in the market that would prevent me from seeing straight for a week, yeah, I'm gonna go see Grandma Susie and get some of her bathtub apple pie moonshine. Now, if I want the best quality, I'm probably gonna want that from a professional factory.
you're gonna want all the colorings and all the sugars and all the GMOs that they put into the bottle at the distillery at the Jim Beam distillery.
Why do I care if there's a GMO in my alcohol? Do you know what GMO could actually mean in a lot of contexts? It doesn't mean you're drinking mutated grain. It means you're drinking grain it means you're drinking alcohol that was made with grains that were probably the seeds were crossbred to produce stronger and more resilient crop yields. Like that's just like the GMO fear arguments are ridiculous at this point. Like I thought we were 20 years past that shit.
All this is irrelevant because I said you're only allowed to produce for personal use, so you can't have.
Okay, so my personal use is selling maps to my house and giving it away.
Let me try to move it a little. Let me ask this. So you said you're going to keep the consequences similar, right? And I'm going back because you're there further than you put forth this policy, so I guess I'm exploring it. Let me ask this. So it seems to me like the criminal justice system. It's a system, obviously. It's got that in the name. So right now the prison system's overtaxed. Given what you're describing, doesn't it seem like it would tax the prison system more because you're trying to actually people for more crime?
No, it reduces crime.
Is it because you're saying it reduces it? Why? Because you have less people committing crime because they're not on alcohol?
Less drunk people getting arrested and spending the night in the drunk tank. Less all the things I went through. Prison population's reduced.
John,
Would you agree with this assessment?
I would agree that we would. I think a better way to reduce the prison population is to not put people who are caught carrying like a dime bag of weed on them and make them
Sure,
do
but
hard
would you
federal
agree
time.
that if alcohol was a prohibition and it was only for personal use, do you agree that the police would probably be locking less people up overall?
No, I think the police would be more inclined to watch people's property and come up with an excuse to enter that property without a warrant and investigate your barn for a distillery and be like, "Hey, are you selling alcohol on this property?" Well, no. I mean, ultimately, what's the biggest thing we have to thank Prohibition for, Josh? We have them to
NASCAR.
It didn't last that long. So
well, we have because we have the FBI to thank to be grateful to Prohibition for. But I'm sure they're gonna. Since you want the organized crime brought up, I'll just bring it up to make the joke that don't worry, Josh. I'm sure the FBI is going to arrest that pesky, mischievous Al Capone any day now, and then they will disband as was intended upon their formation once Al Capone is in jail.
did you ever see the movie The Untouchables?
Yeah, it's not the best movie I've ever seen.
We wouldn't have that movie without Al Capone.
Well, to his point, something we wouldn't have without Al Capone and due to prohibition is we wouldn't have sell-by dates. We wouldn't have best-by dates. That's made food healthier overall. So what do you have to say to that?
I think that's a good thing from Al Capone.
See, prohibition good then. That's a point for you, I guess. I'm just kidding. No, all right. So, okay. What are your proposals here? What do you have policy-wise that you want to go into? What would you change? It seems like he's putting forth all the policy. I know you're the neg in this situation. How would you go about things?
As far as alcohol, I think we need to increase the amount of propaganda as far as people behaving responsibly. And I think we don't even need to do that much because really, if you were over time to compare us today to 1920, Josh, my question to you would be, in over 100 years, is there more or less tolerance today versus 1920 for a man beating his wife mercilessly when he came home drunk?
Is there more or less? It's probably the same.
No, I think we're a lot less tolerant of it than we used to be over 100 years.
They were so intolerant of it in the 20s that they got prohibition passed. So what's your...
But was that the fault of people who weren't handling it responsibly, or was it people blaming the alcohol?
That was a bunch of women who said we need to stop this alcohol thing because our husbands just stay at the bar all day and come home and beat us. That was their argument.
Women have been misled politically to believe a lot of things around that exact same time. Like, this might be news to you, Josh. If not, we don't have to get into it. But are you familiar where in Christianity the term devil's music comes from?
No.
Okay, well, devil's music was as a phrase originates from
Talking about like satanic panics.
no. Devil's music originally came from the early 19th century, and it was coined by a lot of predominantly black Baptist ministers in the South, because the men were spending their Friday and Saturday nights hanging out and drinking at jazz clubs, and come Sunday mornings, if they showed up, they had no money for the collection plate. And in order to get their income back, the preachers went to the wives and said, "Do you know why your husband's in so much trouble? Do you know why you got no money? It's because he's out listening to that devil's music. It's all the devil's music's fault." So then what happened? We had women thinking jazz was the cause of their societal ills. Then the temperance movement have women thinking alcohol is the cause of all of society's ills. Well, gee, Josh, it seems to me like if we just tell women in mass that something is the cause of society's ills, they'll rally against it because we might be safer if we ban it.
Yeah, I'm not a feminist, but a broken clock is right twice a day. So they were right. Alcohol was a cause of a lot of societal ills. Drugs and alcohol, prostitution, all these things that lead to the degradation and the degeneracy of a society, we can restrict those. And I'm a prohibitionist. I would ban drugs. I would ban alcohol. I would ban porn. I would ban prostitution. I would ban tobacco.
What do you have to say to critics that say that the war on drugs doesn't work? You brought up cocaine earlier. And not that I'm a fan or anything, but cocaine right now is at the highest usage of all time. So it doesn't look like prohibition's worked in that case. So why would prohibition work now?
I think the drug war has been affected. I think that's
$20 billion straight down the drain on an average year.
Down to the drain. Addiction it's increased due to population, but per capita it's reduced. The drug war has been effective. People say, no, it hasn't. And that would actually be the biggest policy change, is that I would change the drug war by actually incentivizing combating the problem where it starts. And that's with cartels. It's not just with, you're saying organized crime.
Instead of using force on our own people who are carrying around a blunt in their back pocket, wouldn't it make more sense to go tell, hypothetically, Nicaragua, say, hey, you got like 3 cartels that are the source of most of the drugs in this part of our country. Either get your house in order, or we're going to come to an arrangement where we come in and do it for you.
I'd arrest both of them. I'd arrest the guy with the blunt in his pocket. He's not going to get as extreme of a charge as the distributor.
The guy with a blunt in his pocket is doing no violent activity whatsoever.
Neither is a cannibal.
No, a cannibal is consuming human flesh.
They're dead. They're not doing no violent activity.
Okay, but butchering and killing a person in itself is an act of violence. Cartels will chop you up with a machete and show you what your face looks like removed from your muscle in your skull. You don't realize how cartels have tortured people?
Yes, I know. I'm talking about cannibalism. It's a victimless crime. Why is it even a crime? So I could push your.
Well, where's the meat being sourced from? Then we can figure out if it's a crime or not. If I see a dead hobo on the street, not bothering anybody, and you just decide, oh, he looks tasty, I'm going to bend over and just help myself to a nibble on his cheek. Well, you could maybe argue that that's a victimless crime. He's already dead. I might be willing to walk with you down that road. But if you are telling me I'm really hungry and the only source of food is my neighbor, so I'm going to slit his throat, drain his blood, chop him up, and prepare him, well, that's a violent crime, brother in Christ.
But some people, if they argued that was a freedom that they should have, isn't this your whole argument is just
you're trying to equate, do I think someone should be free to drink and so in a social atmosphere with their friends? And you want to equate that to, should I carve up my neighbor and consume them for sustenance?
What if your friend is like, you can eat my arm?
Yeah.
What if he volunteers it? Is it a problem then?
And we legalize it, and we have a butcher who chops.
Well, at that
people up.
point, you're just adhering. At that point, you're just you're making consent the golden standard. And at that point, if people are consenting to be drunken yokels, shouldn't we just allow that too?
I'm not making consent. I'm not talking about consent.
Oh, you're talking about cannibalism.
When they're dead, I don't care about their consent.
Well, if cannibalism is not violent, if you're not going
hold on.
cannibalism in a violent way.
Let's examine that. Well, what about necrophilia then? Do you have a problem with that? You ready to start humping dead bodies, or what are we doing here?
No, this is a question for him.
What, are you trying to hump dead bodies, or what's going on?
I'm not trying to eat them either.
So, like, what's the difference then, fundamentally?
I'm not trying to eat anybody. I got plenty to eat at home.
Well, I guess what I'm confused is if the dead have no rights, why can't we hump them? Why we can't eat them? Like,
Well,
what's the difference here? I guess maybe explain.
yeah, I would point to my Christian Epistemic Foundation and say we can't do that. But
Well, your Christian Epistemic Foundation is also fine with the consumption of alcohol.
if the policy is, but drunkenness is a sin, drinking to drunkenness. So
I would agree that drunkenness is, but that is not. But somebody who just goes out, has a couple of beers with co-workers socially, goes home, doesn't beat the person they live with, doesn't abuse their children that might have been fathered under the influence of alcohol.
this policy isn't for those people.
I mean, if you want to go into comedy, we can also discuss how low the birth rate would probably be if alcohol did not allow for the conception of additional children.
This policy is for the people.
For a second there, I thought I had everybody on their feet laughing. It was just somebody.
No, nobody laughed.
This crowd is dead. Throw a pie, someone.
Yeah, there you go. The hype.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna piss everybody off. He's trying to.
I haven't argued in front of a crowd before, and these people need to make me and Josh feels like there's a crowd.
Yeah, this is decorum. This is a debate event, not a wrestling. Yeah.
I feel I'm gonna go for all the cheap pops right now and say I feel like I'm Andrew about to debate Dillahunty, and he had to tell the audience to liven up and show some character.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna run.
There you go.
No, you're not gonna rage.
And I'm too fat to run, so we're all good there. No, let's narrow this down there. You brought up the cannibalism thing. What is the fundamental? You said it's the Christian background. I mean, as far as I know we talk jokingly. I guess cannibalism is eating the body of Christ, but I don't think cannibalism is widely accepted in Christianity either. You seem to kind of hand wave that.
No, and that's why I would stay away from it. This is when you're talking to like these libertarian ideals and utilitarian stuff. I can show that it's inconsistent because it's all about my freedoms. I want the freedom to drink alcohol because I like it. And then I say, well, what if enough people liked eating people? There's utility in it. We could end world hunger in a second. We just eat our dead and we can market it. We could profit off of it. Why don't we do this? Because there's an epistemic foundation that keeps us away from doing those things. And I think selling alcohol to the bum on the street who goes out and panhandles $10 and goes in and buys a 40 or goes in and buys a fifth, he shouldn't have the ability to do that. So we incentivize him to work hard, get a house, get some land, get a job, and
would it be a positive?
And then he can drink a little bit.
Josh, would you call it a positive policy change if we decided to say, hey, you can live on this land and brew all the beer you want and drink all the whiskey you want, but here's the catch. It's a monastery and you've got to become a monk. Would you be okay? You can be a drunken monk, but that's how you can be drunk.
If I lived in a country where monks ruled the country, then I would probably say,
if
I was a monk, I'd probably be okay with that.
Well, brewing beer was very common amongst monastics. In some ways, it's how early monastic communities sustained themselves was through the production of beer.
I'll take drunk monks over drunk hobos.
In a way, Josh, I could say that the production of beer on private property by monastics helped maintain the health of Christianity. And wouldn't that be a good thing?
Yeah, I'd be fine on private property. It's a different thing when you're talking about the government regulating it and taxing it and profiting off of it. And then this gives way to new 3-letter agencies. The government gains more profit. They become more powerful. The ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. All 3 of those things are legal, but we have a 3-letter agencies that's shooting people up at Ruby Ridge and Waco. And
that had nothing to do with alcohol and tobacco. I agree.
ATF was involved with both of those.
So it's almost like 3-letter agencies being formed because of illegal substances just to use.
Legal substances.
Oh, they were formed because of illegal. The FBI was formed because of prohibition. So that was an illegal substance at the time.
Yeah, but
so really prohibition has only really created the pretext for us to form new 3-letter agencies that use force on our own citizens to keep them from using them. And we spend all our money there when we could just really, not that I'm a big fan of intervention into other people's countries, but at this point, it's like, you're not making a better case that we don't just put boots on the ground in Nicaragua, bomb the cartel into oblivion, and end the problem where it starts.
Okay, so let's just point to some practical things, like in the Bible Belt, in places like Utah, where there's
practical things is we should have brought a cooler up here because I'd really like another beer. I don't know about you.
All right, listen, I didn't even get my first one yet.
Yeah. Beer run.
This man's moderating. Get him a beer.
Yeah,
So
appreciate it.
in the Bible Belt and in Utah, we see less DUI deaths. We see less alcohol consumption related crimes because
He's
Wally.
reaching for you, Wally. Sorry. Continue, Papa.
My
Continue.
brother in Christ, I love you.
can I get one? What the?
Yeah. Beer run all around.
No, Josh. No,
You're
Josh.
brother.
No beer for you.
Hold
You
on.
don't want us to have it. Plus, your whiskey's right there, you drunk.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. And
You
continue.
are in such a performative contradiction right now. It's not even funny.
That's the point.
Well, go ahead. Go. Continue.
But so less DUIs, less alcohol consumption related crimes and arrests in places like the Bible Belt and places like Utah, where we have regulations against this stuff. In Utah, you can only get alcohol from a state-run liquor store. They don't sell alcohol on Sundays in the Bible Belt, and we see less DUI deaths due to this legislation. So we have a small
Now, where do you
sample
now?
size.
How do you definitively link that it is those policies that are specifically curbing it when you can also observe that over the past 100 years we have done more to be like, hey, let's actually take action on when confirmation of someone getting abused in their own home by someone they live with. We didn't have that attitude in 1920. In 1920, it was, this woman got 2 black eyes from her drunk husband. Not my problem.
You're focused a lot on
Because you're
just
a lot
focused
of
on the spousal abuse. That was the first point I
I'm
made.
focused on something that has nothing to do with alcohol in and of itself.
But I went through a whole list of things.
Where does anything else there have anything to do with the alcohol?
Right, and that's a point that I made in my opening. Each of those is going to have multiple causes and correlates.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at all of them together, all of those things, which most people would say, yeah, alcohol could cause that. Yeah, alcohol. Maybe it's not the direct cause, but it could lead to something like more people showing up at welfare offices, more people collecting welfare, less people buying homes. But when you take it all together, and then you see how the numbers dropped during Prohibition and they went right back up to their normal rates after Prohibition, how can you not correlate those things?
Because in that period, we had not improved on the social messaging against those problems that are not exclusive to alcohol. If we had been actually using that time productively, which we weren't, and I don't think you can disagree that we weren't using that time productively. We didn't use Prohibition to say, hey, stop beating your wife, stop abusing your kids. Stop being unemployed. Go make something of yourself and get a better job now that you just can't be a worthless deadbeat drunk. We did none of that.
No, we just
took away the alcohol.
We just made it harder to be a deadbeat drunk.
And then because we didn't try to move people in a positive direction, we didn't end up accomplishing jack shit.
Well, let me ask this: what's wrong with being a deadbeat drunk? What if you just want to be a deadbeat drunk? Like, I mean, I know that sounds
Well,
kind
if
of
you want to be
dumb
a
on his
deadbeat,
face,
if
but
you want to be a deadbeat drunk in your own home on a Saturday night, I do not personally care. If you want to be a deadbeat drunk who comes onto my property and causes disruptions, now I give a shit. If you want to be a deadbeat drunk and I see your wife and kids outside in your parking lot at 3 a.m. and trying to leave because you're a disruptive, abusive piece of shit, and now it's affecting my community and it's affecting my property.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of problems with being a deadbeat drunk. And
No, like
well, I guess what I'm asking this for y'all is because let's just say I want to be a deadbeat drunk and I want to be homeless and I want to sleep on the side of the road, right? For whatever reason. As long, I guess, I don't know if y'all are libertarians or not, but like, I'm assuming y'all aren't full-on libertarians.
I mean, if you want to sleep on the side of the street, why not? You pay for it.
Well, yeah, I guess that's my point. So, like, if you're not causing any harm, then why is it a problem if you're a deadbeat drunk? Like, other than like, I guess you're not contributing. Okay,
because it does cause harm. It causes harm. It causes harm on not just the drunk. They're self-harming themselves, but they're harming everybody around them, their family, their friends, anybody who.
Well, I guess my question is, where does it stop? Are we going to start like over-regulating? Are we going to start regulating overeating? Are you going to like be like, oh, you overate? This is causing problems for us financially in the medical system. This causes problems for your family. Are you going to start regulating that? Like, what's the line here on what we're going to start?
I don't know. See, the line, there is a line because in the same way you could ask me that, where's my line at about where I'm going to restrict things, I could ask him the same question about where are we going to let the freedoms go. And that's what the cannibalism question comes from. But
there's literally no version of cannibalism that doesn't involve violence. Either you had to kill someone or someone got killed in a reason you weren't involved.
Yeah,
death could be violence.
What about the Soylent Green, bro? The green, like when they die, you just get the corpse starch.
Let's look at it this way, Josh. Let's look at let's try to take a smaller picture here, and let's look at an industry like the professional wrestling industry. Now, just walk with me here.
All right, let's do it.
Now,
here in about 5 minutes, though, before you go on this thing, in about 5 minutes, we're going to close this.
Okay. So let's look at pro wrestling as a real example. So back in the 70s, 80s, a lot of pro wrestlers, a lot of drunkenness, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of cocaine, a lot of frivolous spending of money, a lot of domestic violence. Now,
are you going to try to convince me to ban pro wrestling?
No.
Because I'm on board. I mean, if you can show me.
No.
Don't do that.
What I'm saying is, it wasn't until you had significant incidents in the industry that put a spotlight on the bad behavior that people had to take a look at it and go, look, like, let's take an example then in the 20s. So we're going to take pro wrestling in the 80s, go back to the 1920s. Now, let's say you were a dock worker or a factory worker in the 20s. And a big thing after you're doing all of that hard manual labor is that you go out with all your coworkers and you smash about 6 beers apiece.
Okay.
So 2 industries that present a bigger opportunity to become an addict than other industries probably do. If it is just culturally within that profession, if people if a lot of let's use the stockbrokers and everything that Gibbs brought up as the moderator. Are there more opportunities as a stockbroker for you to become an addict? Probably more opportunities than there are when you're a pharmacy clerk at CVS. But at some point
to legalize cocaine.
No, my argument is that it is not the industry that person it is in; it is the person. Because that person, you give them more opportunities to become an addict in any industry they go into, and they will become an addict because it is not the industry, it is them.
Right. And it's just the person who has a lead foot who tends to speed that we have school zones. So would you say we need to get rid of school zone speed limits? That guy likes to drive 70 miles per hour. It's his freedom. It's his problem. Why do we have... This could apply to all laws that we have. We do legislate morality, and I just want my kids.
I don't disagree that we do legislate morality, but there are certain aspects where you have to take a look at the situation and say, "Hey, this is not the industry you're in; it's you." It's not the fact that you're you are not a drunk and a coke addict because you're a lawyer. You are a drunk and a coke addict because you are just the problem.
Is it easier to become a drunk or a heroin addict?
Well, in the words of Dave Chappelle, we all know we can sneak into our mama's bedroom while she's sleeping and take $5, $10, maybe $20 out of purse, head on over to 3rd Street, take the D bus downtown, meet a Latin American fella named Martinez. We know that.
Gotta be Latin, huh?
All credit to Dave Chappelle and Tyrone the crackhead for that one.
Yeah, I don't know if you answered the question. Is it easier to become a drunk or a heroin
Oh,
addict?
nowadays it's called the internet. You can find a way to get anything you want, probably. I don't think it's any easier or harder to become an addict to anything. It's just the person and how much they enjoy the substance.
So you dodged the question again. Is it easier to become a drunk or a heroin addict?
Well, you're asking if it is easier, and I'm saying in an age of technology and information, it's
You're
kind
just
of hard to
dodging the
make that
question.
distinction.
You're just dodging the question. It's easier to become a drunk. You have
No,
much
it's probably
more...
easier to become a heroin addict because a lot more people who use heroin become addicted than people who drink.
No.
I don't think there's an alcoholic in this room, but I think if we all took heroin, there'd be a heroin addict in this room.
Yeah, but everybody in this room knows where to get alcohol right now. In the cooler, I got some.
Everybody in this room didn't even. Everybody in this room didn't even make noise till I reminded them where they are.
I think
this
very
crowd,
few.
the whole crowd's probably stoned and drunk.
Very few people in this room
That's
know.
neither here nor there, all right? Don't worry about that, all right?
I don't think very many people in this room know where to go walk down in the trap to cop some dope.
Oh, well, shit. One of the three of us do, but
well, if you don't
That's
know,
just
you can
understandable.
ask somebody. If you don't know, you can ask somebody. That's how most people used to get weed, Josh, is you knew a guy who robbed a guy.
Yeah, and you risk getting robbed in the process. So
Yeah, and so isn't it better that I'm not getting robbed when I get my weed in Massachusetts? I go to a legal dispensary where nobody robs me.
no.
Well, you don't think that's better? You think me being the victim of violence would be better?
I guess it's a smaller scale. Well, I mean, this seems like we're getting here pretty close here.
I mean,
Let's go to here. We're getting close now. Let's go to closes. I'll give you about 4 minutes each to do closings. You with the affirmative. I'll let you start us off with your closing here. Give us your thoughts. You got 4 minutes.
Well, thanks to Grid for hosting this. Thanks to the techie guys who made everything function. Thanks to the guys who
the
got
beer
the
runners.
beer.
Hold on, the beer runners. The beer runners
Make
failed
any
me. By the
sense.
way, the beer runners failed me. I just want y'all to know, bastards.
you can have a beer.
Very appreciate it.
Gibbs, thank you for moderating. Who would have thought the first time we'd ever meet in person, you'd be moderating one of my debates?
Oh,
But
yeah.
there we go. Now we're all old friends.
There we go.
My first debate on the internet, long form, was against Josh. My first IRL debate with Josh is in person. Him and I got a good history of making this shit entertaining.
That's good.
So I knew it was going to be fun. I'm glad we finally got to have start the argument because I don't think we're really finished.
Yeah.
But I look forward to my closing would be that no matter what our arguments are, I think Josh and I will be continuing this argument, probably under the influence of alcohol, the remainder of this weekend, and I look forward to it, my brother in Christ.
Amen. All right, I guess for yours, go ahead.
Yeah, kind of just to restate the opening. I think that we should prohibit things that are harmful to society, and we're not doing this for the people who are good Christian, upstanding citizens who can control themselves. Those people will still be able to drink. We're doing this for the people who aren't, for the people who are on the streets, for the people who their lives are unmanageable, as AA would say. Their lives are don't
manageable.
interrupt my closing, Wally.
Bad.
You want to take this outside?
Yeah, let it finish.
No, I mean, I don't think Wally made very many good arguments. I think he went with the typical, my freedom. He didn't go to the organized crime thing, which a lot of people do. It did kind of jump around to what about this drug? What about this drug? What about this drug?
We had an hour and a half to figure this out.
I just don't. Yeah, but yeah, I don't see as many benefits to society to keeping it legal and sold in other than money. If your argument is we make a lot of money off of it, I have no rebuttal to that, except I don't think we should be profiting off of. Stop trying to interrupt me. I'm doing a closing.
Bad.
I don't know. I don't got a lot to say. Yeah, this was fun. Thank you, Wally. Thank you, Grid, for holding this. This was fun.
Well, here in the
And
intro,
we can actually slap hands.
yeah, y'all can slap hands.
Well, there's no hard feelings.
Yeah, here in conclusion, since we're here, and I like to do things, put something on the line. Chat. I don't know if our team can do this. I don't have the chat pulled up. I apologize, but maybe they can do a chat vote. We can find out who won this IRL debate here. You can include an undecided option. Maybe not. Who knows? We can do that here. Y'all can raise. I'm going to do something to honor Prohibition and shotgun this beer because y'all took so long and it was a long time here. So we're going to do that while y'all vote. Talk amongst yourselves. Chat. Here goes. Thank you so much. Oh, good.
You can lay claim to something Andrew Wilson's never done while moderating a debate, sir.
I'll be honest. I'm new to the Andrew Wilson crowd, so it doesn't surprise me. But
and Josh,
I'm sure there's a lot of things I've done that Andrew Wilson's never done. To be honest.
And Josh, my preemptive congratulations to you, because if you do come out of DebateCon weekend with a woman and a family, I'm sure alcohol will be involved at some point.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Well, on that case, I don't know if the chat vote's going or what that's happening or if there even is one, but we have a lot of good things coming up. Thank y'all so much for being our first ones and struggling through it, everything. I know we had some tech difficulties. We had commotions outside, all that good jazz, and y'all powered through. I'm very happy with it. Very good job, guys. Thank you so much. Yep. Any promotions things? I'll let you go first. Well, what do you got going on? Tell the world what's
Wicked Wally everywhere. Fine Wicked Wally accounts are found. You can see me coming up next on November 24th. I have a debate with Kinetic Kel that's going to be on Speed Channel.
I can't wait to hear Kinetic Kel's points on geopolitics.
Yes. I am going to be.
Hey, y'all bashed her, but me and her made somebody rage quit permanently from the internet. So
like the OG Sub-Zero fatality, where Sub-Zero just holds the severed head in the spinal cord, and it says flawless victory. Yeah, I'm gonna do that on November 24th. So make sure you be there or be square.
Yeah, there you go.
Be there or be pro NATO, and nobody wants to be pro NATO.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that. What you got going on going forward here?
JS Urban Adventures. I make I stream Friday and Saturday nights all night, and Monday night I do the dreaded conservative show. It's news, current events, politics, stuff like that. My favorite things to debate and talk about are theology, then politics, then philosophy. But yeah, I'm just having fun at DebateCon. I'm going to make some vlog videos, try to get some interviews. And I go to protests and I mess with people at protests. So that's always fun. And I'm trying to find somebody to debate me in December about Christmas is not pagan. And so if anybody's watching this, if you're a pagan or you say Christmas is pagan, I want that debate. I want somebody who knows what they're talking about, so I can crush them.
I would
you probably add Easter on that one too, But all right, yeah, we look forward to it. Thanks so much. I think we're gonna have another debate. I don't know if are we staying live between debates? Is that the plan? I think we should, because it'll do the uptime. I don't know. I'll let Grid decide that. But here shortly, we will be having another debate. I think it's going to be average debate. Joya versus Fabian is the next one.
No, Jake.
And Jake. It's versus
Varr
Jake.
versus
Jake Varr. Yeah, I knew that Tyler was here. He was making fun faces at. Fantastic. Yeah, good.
You're the stewardess here, Gibbs. Just let me know when I'm free to move about.
Y'all are free to move around the cabin. I think we have. Thank y'all so much. Was there a chat vote? Did they decide? Did y'all set that up?
They did ones and twos. One for JS, two for Wally's, and it looks like Wally took it.
Oh wow! Well, who would have thought that the guy argued? Who would have thought the guy arguing to take away their booze was going to lose?
Don't do that. Don't fold. Don't take the Jameson under your arms and run. You pour me another shot.
It's a bunch of damn drunks.
Yeah. That's right.
Pour another round
bunch
for
of
the
degenerates. Yeah, amen. But yeah, so we got a lot of good stuff coming up. It's gonna be fun debate con weekend. I'm pretty excited.
crew. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's on JS and the table.
amen.
Bunch of drunks chat.
Yeah, donate some money. Yeah, listen, Grid has been nice enough to pay for this giant facility chat. He's paid for a very nice debate hall here. It's looks like it used to be a mercantile chat. It's very nice. He's definitely gone to town on it. So what if y'all can get in there and donate money to Grid? Make sure you follow everybody in here. I'm sure that one of the mods can link the channels to everybody. Make sure you follow them. But give Grid money. We appreciate them being our first guinea pigs here today live. Woo! And we'll be back in a brief moment. I'm going to go take a piss, and then I'll come back over here and entertain y'all while I get organized. Give me a brief moment.
All right, you're seen and heard.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching us today. We got a bunch of debates coming. We're about to have an Israel debate. I know that's going to be real fiery and spicy. I'm going to have a real fast yelling trick going here, but we're going to get spicy in a moment. All the debates, the rest of the night will be spicy. Thanks to our first people for competing. Thanks again to Grid for hosting this event here outside DebateCon. None of us were cool enough for the modern debate people to be on the card itself, so we're hosting the cooler, more fun, better looking card, and that's going to be us today. So check it out now, guys. What y'all need to do is y'all need to take y'all's wallets out like this, right here. You need to take it out, and I know we're talking about Israel, so y'all need to do like some people over there, and y'all need to donate that money because none of us are getting that cool Zionist paycheck gold. All right. So what we need y'all to do is give us your gold. You need to give us your conservative American tax-paying dollars. And if you're not a conservative, you definitely need to give me your money because we're going to spend it better than you will. So give it to Grid. Send us the money right now. He spent a lot of money on this fantastic event. This place is fucking sweet. There's a piano beside me. Nobody's going to play it. There's all these other things beside me. It's cool. There's motorcycles downstairs. If you're not here, you're fucking lame. And so guess what? The best way you can be not lame is to give us your pennies. I need those pennies. Put them in the chat. All the rest of the debate tonight. This shit's not free. Planes are. All right. Thank you so much. And I guess that'll be my
Never Lucky Rubber Ducky donated $10. Super
now, 1
chat
minute or so.
for the grift.
We'll give about 1 minute. We'll go live with the next debate. Yeah. Everybody, y'all ready? Who's taking the affirmative position? You can mute me now.
Yeah.
No, I can go. I'll go.
Right back in
Can I
just
go
a
first on
minute.
the
Yeah.
on
Can you hear me? All right. And we are live again, boys. Welcome back. We got another good debate here. This one's going to get heated. I can already tell. I'm excited. We got two people here that are going to be going down. We got two discussing Israel and Palestine and all the good topics there that are going to go in between on that. It looks like the topic specifically is whether or not the United States should decouple from Israel. We got two game competitors today. First, we got Jake Varr, the host of the Project VOPAR and avid debater. He's debated some big names such as Destiny and many others. And then we have average debate enjoyer here. Hold on. He sent me a fantastic intro. So we're just going to go ahead and read this fantastic intro. It is all kneel for the average debate enjoyer of the house. YouTube, the first of his name, king of research, king of overprep, of streamers and Twitchful, the Pale, finalist in the DCS, breaker of arguments, father of Dragonkin and Furies, protector of Israel, region of the Seven Kingdoms, and the rightful king of the Iron Throne. And I have to say,
And a homosexual.
Raging closeted. No, I'm just kidding. All right, but we're gonna get into it. I'm excited. Let's kick it off. Jake, go ahead. I've already gone over the rules with our competitors. This one's gonna be a little bit of a longer debate, so we're gonna do 7-minute opening chat. Chat, by the way, I will be interrupting them if y'all give us a TTS, and I will pause them. So if I pause y'all for TTS, let it go. Chat, make sure y'all give us money, and by us I mean Grid, because Grid spent a bunch of fucking money bringing this event to you, the people. So all right, and we are not communists. Nobody's paying us for this, so y'all have to pay us for this. All right, Jake, go ahead and kick us off. You got 7 minutes starting whenever you start speaking. Go ahead.
So, should we decouple from Israel, as you guys say? In my position, yes, we should. Israel, as of October 7th, after the original attack that Hamas
Hey, Jake, I'm so sorry. Let me pause you real quick. I'm going to let you start over. Hey, we're not on screen. They can hear us, but I just see Grid's logo. Oh, I got it. It's up. It's up. Okay. Sorry. It was behind. Go ahead and start over. I apologize. That's my bad on our end, but go ahead. Go ahead, Jake. Restart. 7 minutes starting now.
All right. Awesome. So, should we decouple from Israel? In my position, I would say yes, we should. As of October 7th, of course, the attack that Hamas did on Israel, when Israel responded to Hamas, we saw that it was out of self-defense, which in itself seems pretty reasonable, right? They attacked Israel. They have the right to attack back. However, as we see that 2023 moved on, we saw that the numbers jumped up to alarming rates. According to the Health Ministry of Gaza, it was around 45,000 deaths in the first year. And these are studies that going into the second year that just amped up even more. So we do see that that Israel is kind of overcompensating for the attack on Israel here. Now, as far as their excuses goes, it says, look, we did it out of self-defense. They attacked us first, therefore we have the right. That turned into that. Of course, the hostages that they had, the Israeli hostages that Hamas had there, they said this is going to end once we get the hostages back, right? Then we see that this seems to be keeping an issue going forward even after the hostages were taken. It's always something with Israel where they say one thing and then they keep attacking the poor people over there in Gaza, right? And of course, the other narrative here is that people like Tyler here in front of me will say, no, Israel's not committing a genocide. I'm sure Tyler would agree with that statement. Of course, there you go. He has that. And at this point in time, no, it's a lie. I would like Tyler to explain to me how that's not the case. That's a point one. And then also, I would like to go through the starving of the Gazan people. According to reports, they are refuting and not willing to give food to the people in Gaza, blocking out aid as well as medicine and the bombings, hospital bombings, home bombings, as well as infrastructures over there in Israel. It is very clear that Bibi Netanyahu is committing a genocide over there in Israel. And I think us as the United States, taxpayers that pay up to Israel, we shouldn't be funding this type of this type of genocide here. And I think a lot of taxpayer people don't want our money going to that direction. However, people like Tyler, as a open Zionist, is 100% supportive of that. So again, I don't know where his argument's going to go, where he states, no, they're not committing a genocide. I do feel like a lot of the people that are on Tyler's side are now just kind of admitting, yeah, sure, it is a genocide, but however, I'm totally cool with it, bro. As we saw with Brandon Tatum and several other Zionists that are now in the position of just fuck it, let's just fucking support it. It's to the point where they're just gobbling Benjamin Netanyahu's fucking cock. I expect Tyler to do the same thing in this debate right now. And thank you, Tyler, for doing that for me, because this is the exact direction that he is going to go in this debate. We know this. I know this. So I am looking forward to that. And I'm sure Tyler at the end of this will call me a anti-Semitic guy. He won't. Okay, thank you, Tyler. Thank you. He will not do that. However, people that do talk about this type of things are labeled as that, such as Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, several people of that nature, in order to silence them. Now, this is another tactic, pretty much leftist tactics, Marxist tactics, to label somebody that you don't like or somebody that you don't agree with as anti-Semitic, racist, misogynist. The list fucking goes on. So this is the same tactic they're using even in the mainstream right now currently. So I do want to kind of go through things point by point with that. And with that being said, all of that accumulated here, I don't believe we should be supporting genocide. I don't believe that we should be supporting Israel. And I'll leave it at that, Gibbs.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You had about 2.5 minutes. I am going to put a brief pause on you for a second time. We are going to go to a quick intermission. We are having a slight technical issue. I apologize for slowing the flow of these things, but yeah, we're going to go to a brief 30-second intermission and fix this, and then we will continue this exciting debate that we're about to kick off. So go ahead and send us to the void. And we are live again. So sorry for that brief interruption. Clearly, we had some tech issues. Hopefully, we're not blasted out by light behind me. It should be dark anyway. We'll be fine in a moment. All right, now continue on. Thank you so much, Jake, for that intro. Let's get into it. Go ahead and give us your intro. You have 7 minutes starting now.
All right, so Gibbs started out saying that nobody is getting paid to be here, but I'm earning $7,000 for this debate. I want to let everybody know. I'm here to argue for Trump's military strategy and geopolitical strategy as the president, something he's been on board with since 2016 before he won his first election. So I want to argue that my argument's actually the more based one. Going in, we're going to start with U.S. global hegemony and why it's a good thing. If you look at since the United States around the Cold War time has been the stewards of peace in the world, we've had the most peaceful world in existence. Borders have moved less in the last 60, 70 years than they have all in human existence. We've seen massive amounts of conflict squashed out. Some 7, 8 Trump's taking credit for right now. We're able to use our power and leverage to force people to come to peaceful terms. This raises consumer confidence in global trade, with consumer confidence hitting all-time highs in 2022. What does this mean? More countries want to trade with us cheaper goods. Cheaper goods means lower inflation, lower cost of living, a better life for Americans. What we take in yearly from imports in taxes is about $90 billion. Once you get that down to the consumer level, reselling, purposing these things, it ends up accounting for about $250 billion a year in taxes brought in. What we give out every year from our defense spending to other nations is $12 billion. You know, it's a little bit of a difference because it's 20 times higher. Global hegemony costs us nearly nothing. We rent other armies to do our work for us, and we reap the benefits. It's absolutely America first to do this. Going into Israel specifically, why is that important? We need a staging ground in that area. There's 30% of the crude oil from the entire world comes from that area. Trade from Asia to Europe and Asia to the United States goes through that area. We have 2 very important canals and 1 very important strait, and we need to have some sort of security over there. We could sail our ships over there, put U.S. boots on the ground and make sure that's okay, or we could pay somebody an infantile amount of money and have them oversee this very important area in the world. So moving into more what Jake was talking about, we have our post-October 7th. Let me remind everybody that October 7th was when 6 proxies of Iran, coordinated by Iran, funded by both Iran and Qatar, attacked Israel with the intent to completely destroy it and wipe out all of its inhabitants. This would actually be what a genocide is. That was their intent. Israel has shown nothing but restraint since then. So when we talk about the Gaza Health Ministry, what we're talking about is a Hamas-approved, Hamas-filled government entity. Hamas is the governing force of Gaza. These are who the people elected. These are who the people, according to polls, would elect again today if they had another election. But Hamas canceled all the elections after 2006. Now, the alarming rates, the 72K deaths that the Gaza Health Ministry is putting out, not only are several hundred thousand of those, or several tens of thousands of those not verified, but we also find out that the Gaza Health Ministry has been caught lying about Israeli troops killing Gazans multiple times. First, we saw, most importantly and most recently, was what was called the Witkoff massacre. When Trump set Witkoff to negotiate peace with Gaza, there was a firefight on the border when Israel was handing out food. They were handing out 2.2 million meals a day at their peak. When Israel was doing this, people that were rushing were being shot at about 2 miles away from the conflict. Turns out it was Gazan forces, some Hamas, some smaller groups, shooting at Gazans to prevent them from taking Israeli aid. Hamas has come out and said, if you accept Israeli aid, you will be met with violence and death. They are threatening their own people not to take Israeli food because that aid depowers them. Why does that aid depower them? When the UN was allowed to bring in food, Jake mentioned that the UN was cut off from bringing in food. When they were allowed, Hamas was seizing a large percentage, not all of, but a large percentage of these trucks. They were storing them in warehouses. We know of 3 of these potential warehouses. Those warehouses were then used for redistribution. There was a big investigation into it. The redistribution of flour, the inflation of flour, was 100% because Hamas was seizing that and reselling it to its people. At that same time, the Gaza Health Ministry, the Israeli distribution of food was putting out 2 million meals. It's just all been shown. Israel's proven it. On top of that, the idea of a genocide going on, Israel has relocated 400,000 Gazans, 800,000 out of Gaza City before they started bombing, 800,000 Gazans out of Rafah before they started bombing. And then when they went back into Gaza City to go at Hamas's stronghold, they relocated a staggering 1.1 million people out of harm's way. Why were there still people in the combat zones? Because the government they elected was forcing them at gunpoint to stay there. They are being used as human shields. Now, going into the 2024 State Department investigation, Joe Biden, who is his party, not a huge fan of Israel, even though Joe Biden in particular was, what his State Department discovered was that all of the funding that we have given to them did not result in a single war crime. There was no evidence of the claims. What we see are claims. Now, not every Israeli soldier represents Israel. A bad thing can happen in war, something that's not supposed to happen, and how it's reacted to jurisdicts if it's a war crime. If what we saw at one point, we saw a camera on the top of a building. It was a Reuters camera. Israel gave the go-ahead to drop a bomb on it because they didn't know whose camera it was. And they did that. Nobody authorized the tanks to fire. A tank fired twice at that hospital. That would have potentially been a war crime. What did Israel do? Investigated it, found out people acted without their consent, without their order, and they punished them. They punished their own soldiers for doing bad things. Have you ever heard of Hamas doing that ever? Is there a bad thing that they can do? When they kidnapped a 4-year-old and a 9-month-old, they strangled them to death, paraded them through the streets to cheering crowds. They put bombs on buses, intentionally targeting civilians. What genocide is not just killing 1% to 2% of the population while relocating 50% of it to keep them out of harm's way. What genocide is intentionally trying to wipe people off the earth, to kill them. Israel has proven time and time again that they will not do this. When they bomb buildings, they call the people a day beforehand to say, hey, we're going to bomb your building, get all the civilians out. They do knock bombs on the top of the building to say
20 seconds.
Israel has proven time and time and time again, and as we dive into the details, I'll show almost every claim against their bad actions has just been PR from actual Marxists.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Gotten 6:52. There we go. All right. Let's get into it. So I know that we're in America, so we're going to maybe focus on America first lens, I think is kind of a way to do this. Arguably, is America first mean America only? You're going to obviously argue no with this, and you're arguing decoupling is good. What are our thoughts? Let's go. Get into it.
Yeah, so Tyler, I wanted to ask you, man, you mentioned in your opening statement right there that a genocide is completely wiping out an entire population, et cetera, right? Would this be the intent to just wipe out the entire population 100%, right? This is your definition here, right? I would actually go by the definition of the Genocide Convention, right? They have it defined as any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a nation, ethnic, racial, or religious group. So again, it doesn't mean that a genocide would be wiping out the population 100%. Tyler, my opponent right here, says, no, it has to be 100%. Let me ask you this, Tyler. If the Germans wiped out, I don't know, fucking 55, let's say 45% of the Jews, would you sit there and say that was not a genocide?
No, because their intent was to wipe them all out. They just never finished.
So then it's not a genocide, right?
You can kill
So it wasn't a genocide, right?
You can kill 0 people and still be attempting a genocide. It's your intent to wipe them out.
But okay, so let's say the Germans intended to wipe them all out, okay? Or maybe they intended to wipe out 49% of them. That still wouldn't be considered a genocide in your opinion, right?
It would.
Well, okay, but it's not the majority, Tyler.
Their goal was to specifically target.
Their goal was to wipe out 49%. Is that a genocide or not?
If there could be 0 deaths, they could wipe out 0%. If their intent is to start a movement to kill a specific group of people based on their ethnicity, that is genocidal intent. What Israel has shown is they're preserving the lives of those people in the millions.
In the millions, really? Okay, so Tyler, how many people are left over there in Gaza right now?
About 97% of the population before the war started.
Okay, great. So they had a population around 2.2 million after the attacks of October 7th. They're under 2 million right now. This also includes people, not just Israel relocating people. It's people that actually fled into the other border areas, okay? So it's not just fucking Israel just thinking like, oh, they just love the Gazan people. They just need to fucking relocate them. Totally not true. The vast majority of them migrated to other areas, Tyler. That's one. Two, I also wanted to ask you, when you're talking about a genocide, I would put this under the definition that it doesn't have to wipe out the entire nation. It has to wipe out, again, in part or whole, right? These are two different scenarios here. And I agree with you, in whole, sure. But this is why I asked you if the Germans intended to wipe out 49% of the ethnic J people.
I think you're okay to say that. You'll be fine. I'll make sure you don't go to jail.
The ethnic J people, you would still consider that a genocide. This is a contradiction just in your definition alone. So can we establish an actual definition here, Tyler.
Yeah,
Proposing the button.
absolutely. Because if using your definition, I find it to be a bit loose. What we did in Vietnam would technically be considered a genocide under your definition. What we did in Tokyo would be considered a genocide. Under
That's
your definition.
that's war, though.
This is a war.
That's not a war.
This war. Israel.
Oh,
is
now
currently
I
in a
see.
war.
Okay, now I see. Now I see
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. Okay,
So there
Okay, go
has
on.
to be the intent to actually wipe out the people, not just win the war. And with Israel's actions showing how much they fed, given water, given shelter, relocated, and warned the people of Gaza that were not part of Hamas, that shows that their intent is not to harm them. They
Okay.
could have done much, much, much worse.
Okay, so now I understand within this debate, I would have to prove the intent of Israel, which, by the way, a lot of the things that Tyler's saying is actually unproven. There's no actual evidence of any of this stuff. For example, even with the blockage of food, right? Oh, Israel, which, by the way, is the only one that are telling us this stuff. Israel is saying that Hamas is taking food and redistributing it through that. Israel's the only one. However, according to the international associations, international CIA, etc., including the U.S., have found no evidence on that at all. Okay, so and these are multiple institutions that haven't found nothing on those claims, but yet Israel still runs with this type of fucking rhetoric. So that's one on there. Another thing, I will tell you this: even like two U.S. governments, right? Government agencies, USAID, and even the Bureau of Population Migration has even stated that the Gazans who are starving over there in Gaza, it's to blame on Israel, right? They're the ones blocking a lot of this, a lot of the food that's going in, etc. So the only thing Tyler has to say is, no, bro, just trust Israel. Israel's telling me that this is not the case. Trust me, bro. But doesn't seem to be the case when others investigate this situation. So I want to ask you, Tyler, just to move forward. You do not consider this a genocide at all, even though scholars, for example, in the Israeli communication of genocide, scholars have actually stated this is not a genocide. I'm sorry, this is a genocide by their definition.
Yeah, I still don't. So
You
I
still
want to go.
don't, okay.
Can we go through a few of your claims here? So
Go for it.
the attempt to wipe out a racial group has to be shown, and if Israel can be shown to preserve the large, vast majority of that racial or ethnic group by doing all these mitigating factors, feeding them, housing them, clothing them, moving them out of harm's way, that to me shows that they're not trying to actually wipe out the majority of this racial group. Going into what you said about Hamas, the U.S. government has recognized that there's 2 warehouses, at least that we know of, in Gaza that are under the control of Hamas. We have video footage. The New York Post has done stories about this. I want to say it was a BBC investigation, but don't quote me on the source, that talked about flour, why flour was so expensive a few months ago. It was because Hamas was seizing the aid that was actually going in. We have documented cases. Tony Blinken, under the Joe Biden administration, went to Israel 11 times to oversee food going into Gaza. There was one instance where he went there, the aid trucks from the UN went in through the crossing, and Hamas seized them right in front of the U.S. government. The UN had to go in and take them back. So to say this is unverified, I would have to just meet you with the citations from multiple things. The New York Post, why would they lie about this?
So
now, hold on, I got one more for starvation. So the starvation guesses, back in March, we heard 10,000 people were going to die of malnourishment. And we heard that they were starving, the kids were dying left and right. Well, we have the actual numbers. Since the beginning of the war, less than 200 people have died from malnourishment. They said 10,000. They were off by 98%. These are the same people that are quoting Gaza on the death numbers. These are the same people quoting Gaza on the genocide numbers. Mind you, 7 days into the war that Gaza started, they're claiming that genocidal action.
You got a chat. Looks like we got
Oxcaxo donated $10.
XO.
Super chat.
Thank you for the $10. Woo! Big shout out. Yeah, and then we also got. I think there's a TTS coming in as well. Is the TTS going?
It should be coming in now.
Okay, let's give it 10 seconds or so.
There we go. It's showing on screen right now.
All right.
From Call Me GL. Appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's is the TTS going? I don't know. Well, we'll read them. If it's not, I'll read them. Our wonderful tech team will read them. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, go ahead, Jake. I'm turning it back over to you. I interrupted you, so go ahead. Thank you so much for the super chats. Keep them coming. We need the money. And by we, I mean Grid. Not because he's poor, but because he spent a bunch of money.
Calm GL donated
All right, go ahead.
$20. Super
Wait, now the
chat.
chat's going.
Appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, Call Me GL. Woo! All right.
Yeah, we'll figure out the timing for those groups, those things that were over here over throughout the night. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, okay. So let me get my thought process here. So Tyler makes the claim that Israel's actually feeding Gaza, right? They're feeding the Gazans. They're so nice, they love them, etc. But what he doesn't tell you is that 64% pre-October 7th, Gazans were food insecure. In other words, there was a lot of malnourishment, right? 80% of the relief from human aid was what the Gazans were relying on, right? 80%. They need that situation. Not only that, 30% of the food that was being distributed over there in Gaza, or at least locally, was grown in Gaza. 30% of that food, right? So they do need the aid over there. But what he doesn't tell you is that, no, there's already evidence that shows that Israel targeted these food trucks, 500 food trucks daily pre-October 7th, was cut by 80%. And this is from the UN Humanitarian Affairs that reported this. 80% cut, okay, on Israel that they blocked out, right? Not only that, if Tyler wants to say, no, this is just a lie, the UN are a bunch of liars, I'm sure that maybe might be the direction that he's going.
Let me pause y'all again. I'm so sorry. I apologize. We got a $50 donation from Johnny MD.
Yeah, right there, baby.
Johnny MD donated
so much.
$50. Super chat. For Grid's generosity, AMD good debates. Cheers, mate.
Cheers to you. Thank you.
Oh, well, shit. No, I didn't know. But all right, go ahead. Thank you so much. Go ahead. Where are you the fight?
Yeah, okay. So anyways, yes, 500 food trucks daily, cut by Israel by 80% post October 7th, right? So that's a sheer on fact. This has been investigated by where am I looking at? It's by the
You're right.
Okay, fair enough on there. Not only that, if he's making the claim that they're just getting blocked, they want to feed these people. Israel targeted food infrastructures. All right, they purposely targeted areas where the local food was being grown. Right. So, for example, for this, in November of 2023, they bombed the only operating wheat mill in Gaza. In Gaza, they bombed it. Right. So I don't know, was Hamas hiding in the wheat mill? I don't know. I have no idea on this situation, because according to Tyler, every time they fucking bomb Gaza, it's because there's some Hamas guy there and they just have to kill, the surrounding people that's around that motherfucker. I have no idea what their take is there, but they did bomb the only operating wheat mill in Gaza in November 2023. And as of December 2024, 95% of the cattle, the sheep, and the goat flock in Gaza destroyed. That's all targeted by Israel. Okay, so if he wants to make the claim, no, you have to prove intent, then he would have to prove to me, why is it that Israel is actually targeting the local food source of Gaza if they don't want to starve these people, right? That's one claim there. So that is something.
Before you move on, let me just ask, do you disagree that food production facilities are not a legitimate target in a military campaign?
I reject that this is a war completely.
Okay, just to be clear. All right, go ahead. Finish up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I can leave it at that, because Tyler's position is that this is a war. It is not a fucking war. It's a fucking genocide. Two different things, my friend.
Would you agree with the statement that food production facilities are a legal target or a legitimate target in a
Generally, no.
Okay.
Generally, anything like multiple things like hospitals, schools, things of that nature are generally not. The reason Israel is specifically allowed to hit them is because of the details.
So not food production would not be a legitimate target.
To the best of my knowledge,
Okay.
no.
In your opinion.
Lawyer.
Sure.
I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, I didn't mean from a lawyer
in a war situation?
Just
in a
generally,
war
you
situation.
cannot-
Well, the reason
what
I
you're
ask
saying,
is in America, right? One of the arguments would, if we got nuked, one of the first places nuked would be the breadbasket to take out our food production. Most people consider that a war, like
as well as like hospitals.
right? Yeah, most people consider food production facilities a legitimate target of war. I was just curious what y'all's takes were, since you seem to be against that. You also seem to be against that. So in response to him, if they're taking out food production facilities and you're avidly against that or openly against that, what is your disagreement then with what he's saying?
Well, it would depend on the details and the context of what's actually going on. So with hospitals, I don't know specifically about the food facility he's talking about, but I know generally hospitals and other facilities, about 2/3 of Gaza City in general has terror tunnels underneath it. Tunnels that are being used by Hamas to facilitate attacks against Israel. Hospitals have been used. We saw this most hospitals. Israel's released evidence that most of these hospitals were being used as staging grounds. Several of them were raided. Videos, evidence is available. Satellite evidence is available. We found a children's hospital in Gaza. Underneath it, there was an arms munition, just storage for Gazan weapons. They are using these targets to hide their activities. It's guerrilla warfare, and they're intentionally hiding behind their population. This would be, in a sense, them committing a war crime and then opening the door for Israel to now bomb these facilities. Now, going into the food insecurity point, if I've heard this word before, it's straight out of the Mandami playbook right now, but generally it's been used by people in the United States to say food insecurity exists, and that's the reason these people can't do X, Y, and Z. Food insecurity happens. Sometimes when I don't know what's going on for lunch and I only got $5 in my pocket, I'm food insecure. It doesn't mean malnourishment. It doesn't mean you're dying. It doesn't even mean necessarily that you're underfed. It just means
you're switching the definition, Tyler.
That's what food insecurity. Food insecurity.
Okay, the way I'm using food insecurity just means people that are starving. That's it. Like you're not starving.
That's starvation. Food insecurity is.
So let me reword then starvation.
Yeah. Okay.
64%. Yes.
So again, that hasn't been proven. What we saw in early reports, we saw the prediction that 10,000 people would die from malnourishment in over 2 years, and it's less than 200. It's showing that all of these statements that people were dying and being starved to death aren't true.
Pre-October 7th. Sure.
Yes. Well, no, generally, just
no, pre-October 7th.
This was post-October 7th that this happened.
Okay. All right.
During the war, they said 10,000 people were going to die as a result of Israel not allowing food in. What Israel did was block UN food. The reason they did this is because the UN was refusing to go with IDF convoys to hand out and distribute that food. The IDF and the Gaza Health Fund, or the health...
But that was for safety purposes, right?
Yeah. The Gaza Health Administration was humanitarian administration was handing out food. They refused to work with the IDF and give their food to this Gaza feeding administration out of Israel that the United States is also involved in. They wanted to do it on their own. Israel said no and blocked their trucks from going in. Well, they offered to do it for them, and the UN said no.
But you have to consider the position of the UN, because you have to realize that when these trucks were coming in there, the IDF was not protecting them from the crazy people that were actually trying to raid those trucks, bro. Like the IDF has total security on the border lines, right? They're sending in people that are in trucks there, and they're getting bombarded, just like you mentioned earlier. And the IDF was doing nothing about it, Tyler.
Yes, they were refusing to work with the IDF.
Yes, because they weren't protecting them.
But what we have is
the IDF was purposely doing that so that they can put the blame game on the UN.
I don't know if there's anything to say that the IDF.
Well, that seems to be the case.
I think that sounds like more speculation to me.
Well,
any proof for that?
Well, remember, I'm trying to prove intent here, because in your position, you're saying this is a war. I'm saying it is not, right? Which I'll get to that later. Just keep that in the button there. But I'm just saying that when you want to say, well, the UN didn't want to work with the IDF, like, yeah, the IDF didn't even care to even protect the UN's drivers and people that were delivering the money in the first place. And I kind of get it. Imagine yourself, if you're driving that truck and you could be threatened by Hamas raiders that are going to fucking go in there and potentially kill you, Tyler, and then the IDF doesn't even fucking bother protecting you. That's a problem, bro.
I agree with you, but if their rejection is we won't work with you at all because we don't want to, the IDF, which was proven in court, has the right to turn down people from going into an active war zone without their supervision. And they've been doing that. So right now, the Gaza Health Humanitarian, I can't remember the name of it off. It's in my notes, unfortunately. But they are set up 4 sites within Gaza, completely protected by the IDF. There's been very minimal casualties. And again, they're handing out 2.2 million meals a day to about 1.2 million people. They are feeding over half the country every single day.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so again, I'm trying to kind of prove the intent of Israel here, that this is not a war, it's a genocide. we talked about the food supplies. You mentioned that, well, the reason why they're bombing out the hospitals is because there's a fucking tunnel system and they just got to take out them. Why are they targeting the food supplies here where it's cattle's, literally cattle's farms, middle of nowhere? They're bombing these areas, killing out cattle's, bro, killing out wheat farms. What's the excuse on there?
I don't know that particular. I'd have to go look.
What would you assume? That's probably because there's tunnels down there.
Maybe, but I would assume since Israel has been able to use evidence to refute almost all claims of genocide, and
which has never been proven,
the United States government backs them up that war crimes were not being committed. I would assume since Israel has shown to be the more honest, not perfectly honest, but more honest actor between the two.
Really?
Trust there, absolutely.
Wait, hold on. The decapitation of 40 babies, which was easily proven to not be the case. That was propaganda from Israel. They had no proof on that.
Okay,
yes,
that was a game of telephone. What Israel with the truth?
But you would agree that was fucking propaganda pushed by Israel, correct?
It was. But what actually happened is an IDF soldier said he saw a couple of dead children, not 40, and that got.
Well, dude, Joe Biden even fucking said it in his speech here, bro.
A telephone got played and it got expanded right along what it was, and the soldier that actually made the original claim came out and said that's not what I said. So he tried to even do damage on his own quote.
Okay. But nevertheless, when you had TikTok at the time, distributing a lot of these videos that were coming out of Gaza, and we see a lot of dead Palestinians, etc. Right? It's chaotic, right? Do you at least agree that 2 years, right? It's been 2 years that all this shit's been happening. Do you at least agree with me that the death toll is over 100,000 people?
No. Even Hamas run Gaza Health Ministry says right now it's at 72,000, and Israel's sitting more at 44,000.
Okay, that was in 2023 though.
No, October 2025. They said their last guess was 72,000.
Yeah. Okay. So I have. Oh shit. I have other. Yo, shut the fuck up. We're having a debate, EOD.
Yeah. Quiet from the peanut gallery. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's old. He doesn't.
He's old. It is what it is.
Yeah, his ears
okay.
don't work anymore.
So you know what?
I apologize for the interruption. Go. Hey! Shut the fuck up!
Shut the fuck up! I'm trying to. I am destroying this guy. I'm in the middle of destroying Tyler.
Sorry about that, chat. We had a little bit of a disruption there. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, going back to at least the numbers here, I would say, would you agree that's over 100K? He says no, it's probably around 75 to 80K.
I'd say 50.
Okay, you would say 50. Okay, but even though you just stated that, okay, so let me check. Okay, you would say 50. I want to know where you get those numbers because that actually aligns with the health ministry in Gaza. They say 45K, and then you're saying no, it's probably 50. You're still fucking saying that it's actually more than the Gaza propaganda that's coming out saying that it's 45K.
When I checked it last week, it was 72 from the Gaza.
Okay, so let's say 72. Okay, so post October 7th, we know that Hamas has killed 1,200 people in that attack, right? 1,200 people. Say 1,200 people. You would agree, okay, 72,000. Would you accept that number? 72,000.
Yeah, that's
okay,
fine.
72,000. 72,000. Okay, so in the last 2 years, how many more Israelis have died in the hands of Hamas?
I think it's only a couple thousand more.
What's it like? What, 1,000, 2,000?
Let's say 3,000 just to be safe.
Okay,
it's significantly less.
So let's do 3,000. So they killed about 4,000 people in the last 2 fucking years. Where Israel, and he's accepting this number, 72,000, right? This is not a fucking war at all, okay? Not even fucking close. So again, we're going back to my definition of genocide, right? Which I get from the Genocide Convention, right? And they define it. Any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a nation, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Okay, this all falls under the definition that this is not a war. This is a genocide that's being committed by Israel.
Okay, so going into that, again, you're talking about, let me get the pen, please. Oh, actually, you hold it for right now. Give it back when you start talking. You're talking about less than 3% of the population of Gaza right now. So even if we accept the Hamas numbers, you're still talking about 3% of the population right now. And we're not even splitting that up between combatants and civilians. We're talking about total deaths. Israel's claiming to have killed about 20 to 25,000 members of Hamas or Hamas affiliates or IJF members.
Wait, really? They claim that?
Yes.
25,000 Hamas members that they've killed?
20 to 25,000 members of Hamas, IJF, or other factions in that area.
So then that would mean, because they're estimated around 20,000 Hamas to 40,000 Hamas members in totality. So if they're claiming that they've killed 25,000, right? 25,000 Hamas members.
I know where you're going with
the
this.
math.
Just to clear this up, they're not claiming that they've killed over half. Hamas has already replaced their losses. Hamas has said this.
Hamas said this, but if you look at
Hamas,
well, I can debate you, Gibbs, really quick if you want.
I'm just a point of clarification. Just a point of clarification. Hamas has said that they've replaced the numbers.
They have,
but I don't know.
Okay, but let's look at the IDF.
You can look at the ratio.
Let's look at the IDF. They have 170,000 soldiers of an army, and then on top of that, another 450,000 on call. So they have a totality of around 600,000 soldiers here. It's not even comparable to Hamas. So in a war, I would assume that they would need a military. These people that are being bombed out, their food supply, their hospitals, their homes, 92% of homes have been absolutely obliterated by Israel in the Gaza Strip. So again, when you look at these numbers,
do you disagree with that, Tyler? 90% of homes have been.
I think it's significantly less. I thought it was around 60% of homes.
Okay, well, let's just go with the lower number.
City.
Do you think it's okay that 60% of residential is
so I got to get into a few things.
It's okay.
Yes.
You think that's okay? Okay.
Yes, because again of the context and the details, we have an entire tunnel system underneath. Who's going to go into these tunnels?
Yeah, so kill 60% of the houses. Go for it, guys.
Yes. These houses
hold on,
have
just
built into them. Yes,
just to Jake's side and Jake's point here. Wouldn't that it's like, I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist, but I do look like Alex Jones, so I'll pretend. But it's real convenient that there's a lot of tunnels under 60% of the area for the group that's getting ethnic cleanse.
And mind you, they have Flintstones technology, guys.
Yeah, I mean, let's just it's not like they have excavators. How are they building these tunnels? How much proof of this is there? I know. Obviously, my position on Israel's known. But I've seen some claims about these tunnels. How are they building all these tunnels? That 60% of houses are destroyed? Sus. What are you going to say to that?
Well, okay, so not all of this is the fault of the people in Gaza. Some of these people in Gaza have reported that one day they were building their home. They woke up the next day and there's a guy with a rifle in his hand saying, we're going to put this tunnel entrance in here and there's nothing you can do about it. So sometimes they're hostages and of their own government. Other times they're willing participants. We saw with the hostages that came back after that they were kidnapped by Gaza, they were being held in civilian homes. They were being held in UNRWA tents. The UN sponsored people to hold hostages, probably unwillingly. I'm not blaming the UN here, but UN money was used to hold hostages. They are manipulating all this aid coming in and using it against the Israeli people.
Can you move your mic closer? By the way,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're a quieter speaker.
Well, I was just talking to you.
Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead.
I want to address Jake's proportions argument that he just made because it was a twofold argument for genocide. I think we already addressed the hospitals and arguments of that nature. So I want to talk about proportions. It doesn't matter if Israel has the better army, then it was a miscalculation for Iran to fund 6 proxies, 6 front war they were fighting, not just against Hamas. That's just and Gaza. That's just one of the 6 fronts. They were also fighting Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Palestinian, the PA, and other small proxies within other regions.
And Israel encouraged it.
6 people were attacking. It doesn't matter if they were encouraging.
They did encourage it. It's not victim blaming. Israel was literally supporting the funding of Hamas.
This was 20 years ago.
2025.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, 2005. Okay, go for it.
Let me address this argument before we get to the next vague claim.
This guy's crazy.
Argument. You were arguing because 70,000 people have died here. They've only lost 4,000. That's proof of a genocide. That proof of a genocide you're giving means that America has committed genocide in every single war it's been in because we have better military.
You can't commit a genocide during war. That's the thing.
This is a war.
This is not a war.
This is a war.
I've already demonstrated how they're destroying the food. They're destroying hospitals. Your excuse is because there's tunnels. It's like, how does Hamas that has Flintstones technology, literally Flintstones technology, able to build all these fucking tunnels all around Gaza to where Israel says, oh, we have no choice just to bomb out the entire area and kill 100,000 people or 72,000 people.
The leftist argument of
it's not a leftist argument. It's a logical argument. How do they do it then?
No. I understand the leftist argument you're making of they don't have the same tools, so we have to treat them with kid gloves because they're an oppressed minority. But a 6-front war attacked Israel to start this. They started it by attacking Israel with the intent to wipe it off the map. Israel responded by saying the governing body of this state has to go before we will have peace. That is the intent. That is their goal. And that is what
Let me jump in here because I feel like y'all might be talking past each other.
I don't think
So
I am.
you're sitting here talking about intent quite a bit, right? And you're saying it's not a war, right? I guess here's my question. I guess to you first, and then we'll go to Jake to Tyler. So, okay, I think we can all agree that Hamas, since it's in their charter, their intent is to commit a genocide and wipe out the Israeli state. Right? That's something I think we can all agree.
You can make
we
can make the argument with the entire fucking Middle East because this is what we've been told for years that they want to wipe out Jews, etc. Israeli state, etc. So you can make that argument on any Palestinians, but is it true? Can you prove that?
Well, I mean, I guess that's a good question, but
yes.
I guess the question I have is, you're saying it's not a war.
No.
Okay. Well, Hamas, at least in Gaza, not in the West Bank, is the illegally elected government, and they're still supported by the population, right? And they attacked Israel. At what point does it become a war? I guess is my question. What would make it? What would Hamas and the Gazans have to do in order for it to be classified as a war?
To get other nations involved.
So,
because
like
again,
Lebanon
because
and Syria
Hamas does not have an army. Tyler just mentioned right now that Israel's wiped out 25,000 Hamas members. According to the numbers, then that would leave around 15,000 members compared to 600,000 of a military army. This is not a. But again, the damage is
Hezbollah joined in. Were they an army? Was it a war then?
But they're not. They never joined armies.
But that's the thing. My point is here, and that's a very good question by Gibbs. Is at one point when does it become a war? Which is a great fucking question. I would say this. Look, Gaza or Hamas in general have not gained the support of, for example, Iran, people that actually have a war to start an actual war against Israel, which they won't do it because Israel's backed up by the United States. Fuck no, they ain't going to do that shit. They're not even going to touch it. The United States is fucking, we're the powerhouse, baby. So I get it there. But
what about the Houthis? They have military. They've attacked
they
Israel.
Okay, well.
Then we dropped the most bombs since World War II on them, but
yeah, for sure. And that's the thing with Israel is that they have a war, like by that definition.
I guess
you
my
would
question
have,
to you, Jake,
but that's the definition. If you're going to define when does it become a war, Israel's bombed many other nations outside of just Gaza, right? From the Houthis to Rafah, etc. Like they are dropping bombs at even Iran, right? So because they dropped bombs on them, does that mean that they're starting a war by that definition?
Well, I mean, if you're asking me, I'm not in the debate, but
okay,
but sure. I mean, if you want me to answer, I would say.
I'm just saying I would reject.
Yeah, it's a rhetorical. Go ahead. I'll let you answer.
You're just rejecting this as a war. I need to hear more about that because if you look at the actual actions, what we did to the Viet Cong, the United States killed 9 members of the Viet Cong for every 1 member of the United States military that died. In Venezuela, you could say Trump's committing a genocide against Venezuelans because of the disproportionality. The United States,
how many people has Trump killed in Venezuela?
I think it's 80-0. So the reason,
wait, 80 people?
80 people right now have died. I think in the boat. So it's close to. It was at 66, and I think they did one more bombing after that. So
okay, yeah, I think the genocide.
So
they wouldn't consider that. No,
in a war, there's no rule that says you have to have the same weaponry and same level of weaponry.
I agree with that, Tyler.
So Hamas is being funded and backed by Iran. They're not using sticks and stones. They're using Iranian and Russian.
No, well, they're being funded by Qatar.
So same question to you, Tyler. Okay, so like at what level would it be a genocide, or would it be considered ethnic cleansing?
I don't think genocide and war are mutually exclusive. You could have a war with the intent to have a genocide on it. I would say genocide is based on the intent to actually wipe an ethnicity off the map.
Well, so just let me press you a little bit real quick. What's this? Like, I guess the second follow-up is the same one I had to him is what level does it have to reach to hit?
The beginning. You could kill 0 people and still attempt a genocide.
Yeah, right. Sure. Attempt. But what level would it have to reach to be a genocide?
I don't think that
because like I say, if I decide, I hate the Muslims and I go attack a mosque, like, that's not a genocide. That's a hate crime.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So what is the level that you would have to agree that if it's ethnic cleansing or a genocide by Israel and not the collateral damage?
I don't think there is a level personally. I just think
there's no level, so they can just commit collateral damage in perpetuity and not be a genocide.
Collateral damage is all justified legally, like we see.
So yeah, if we see,
but it's not.
If they send in
it's not justified legally.
Is if they go, all right, we're glassing it, send in the B-52s. Well, I guess they can't. But if we whatever the equivalent to the B-52s and glassed it, you would say, that's just collateral damage and not a genocide.
Let's say hypothetically Israel tomorrow went into Gaza and did what we did to Japan in World War II. I would still not consider that a genocide, even though you'd actually see death tolls skyrocket as a result. This idea that proportionality equals genocide means that the United States, because we have the best, strongest.
You're reforming the definition, though. That's my problem with you.
I'm taking you 2 points of your definition and challenging them individually. You said one of them was based on proportionality of people killed. You're just saying because so many Gazans have died,
in part.
genocide.
Tyler, you got to put the mic to your face, by the way. I'm so sorry.
So you said because X amount of Gazans have died versus X amount of or Y amount of Israelis, that is one of your 2 factors.
But I'm also, but again, in that definition, I'm also trying to prove intent, right? This is why I bring up the food supplies. I bring up the hospitals, the housing. Literally 92% of the houses wiped out, 80% of buildings wiped out. And again, we don't even know the excuses on that. You're telling me you talk about the hospitals because there's tunnels down there. Okay, what about the buildings? Where all the 80% of the buildings they're doing tunnels underneath? No. All 92% of the homes, tunnels. This has left 1 million people homeless in Gaza. Okay. Tyler,
that's their government's fault. At one point, does their own government started a war?
It's not a war. This is a bro. Okay. Let me give you a metaphor of what this looks like to me, and many people looking in on the outside here, and hopefully you guys can fucking see this. This is a battle between Andre the Giant and a fucking infant baby.
So what?
Okay, and the infant baby fucking I don't know, pinched Andre the Giant, and now Andre the Giant's fucking pummeling this baby for the last 2 years. That is not a war. That is just fucking abuse, bro. That's all it is. This is Israel has the backing of the United States. Gaza does not. These poor people do not have a military to protect them, or at least start a war.
You're right.
So it's not a war.
So that baby should not have picked up a gun and shot Andre the Giant's daughter in the head, because that's how this war started. Was a 6-front attack against Israel. They attacked Israel with the intent to destroy it. They were trained, they were armed, they were funded, they were coordinated by Iran and Qatar to destroy Israel. Israel turned it into a war when they did repercussions back to them. The act of war came from Hamas's side. They fucked around. Mm-hmm. They're finding out. That's all this is.
Do you support that Mossad encouraged Qatar to keep supporting Hamas, like to keep funding Hamas? Do you agree with them?
That one. So that didn't happen. So what happened is during the time with the PA, this was after the second Intifada, where the PA was the strongest.
Sounds like a false flag so far. Sounds like a false flag so far that Israel supported Qatar funding Hamas. Go on.
Hold on. Let me just before you go on, I want to engage with that real quick because y'all both brought this funding up. All right. I have a problem with the lefties that do this. I'm a conservative. If y'all didn't know, Admiral Gibbs is my name. So I have a problem when lefties do this. No. Yeah. And they do this a lot where they're like, oh, we have IRBO, we have international rules-based order, we have to stay on the same side. Just because we used to fund the Taliban and Mujahideen, whatever the fuck their name is, to fight the Russians, and then that led to Osama bin Laden. And that, like, just because you fund somebody, does that necessarily make it like a false flag or like?
Well, I mean, look, I'm not saying that it is a false flag fully. I'm not saying that. Sure. What I am saying, it sounds like one. Okay, it sounds like one. I'm not putting out the claim that this is. However, I am saying that Israeli intelligence, literally people in Mossad, actually credit the funding of Qatar of the money the money that Qatar funded Hamas, especially back in 2005, for them to win the election in the first place. Israel could have put a stop to that off the bat years ago. They decided not to. Why didn't Bibi Netanyahu and Mossad put a stop to the terrorist organization that's so bad that led to October 7th, which, by the way, they credit the money that Qatar gave them. They credit that led to October 7th.
Yeah, I can absolutely address that. So at the time, after the second Intifada, the Palestinian Authority was the anti-Israel dominating force in both of these regions. Israel's calculation was we could either have the Palestinian Authority in control of both of these lands, or we could split it up. We could take this less radical group at the time, because Hamas wasn't always a terrorist entity. It was a much less radical group at the time. Put them in power and hope that they do something different. Something the United States does all the time. We back the rebels in a certain area, and then those rebels take over, and we hope they moderate. And something like what we're seeing with Syria right now. The current rebels that we aided or that were aided.
What's your definition of less radical, though? So you're claiming
that's something the government does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but your claim of Hamas was actually very less radical when they were funding them.
What less
Is that
radical
that's your argument
Yes.
here? Is that they were just less
What
radical?
Less radical means is less of a threat to.
Like they didn't want to kill the United States.
They may have, but they were less of a threat to the
okay.
government than the Palestinians.
They still wanted to kill the United States. They still wanted to kill the Jewish people. However, they were a little less radical than the rest of them.
They were just
What?
They were just a shitty small group at the time.
Okay.
The Palestinian Authority was the threat. Now the Palestinian Authority is.
But why? Hold on.
Shit.
That's crazy to me because they said no, we're not gonna stop fun. Look, if they were so small and Qatar's giving them fucking millions and millions and millions of dollars that led. And by the way, the election in 2005 that Hamas they didn't win the popular vote there. They won through plurality. So the people there, the majority of the people didn't even want Hamas, right? So I would argue that, and especially the Israeli government, the Mossad would agree with me. They would say that the funding that Israel allowed actually led to October 7th. It led to the election of Hamas in the first place. So this is why I'm going back to Gibbs here when he says, well, how is it a false flag? It seems like Israel is allowing their enemies to be funded, even though they have the power to stop that shit. And again, now years later, Hamas throws out 5,000 fucking missiles to Israel and then says, okay, now it's self-defense, guys. We're going to bomb the shit out of them. And then, this will end after we get the fucking hostages, gets the hostages, still continues. Ceasefire is fucking broken. And okay, so the point is, though, that I'm saying here, Tyler, is that it seems like I'm getting a bunch of excuses time and time again. Not only that, Benjamin Netanyahu is being investigated on these war crimes of food, bombing food industries, etc. in Gaza, right? My question to you, Tyler, I assume you would say Benjamin Netanyahu's innocent, right? I would assume that 100%. Would you be okay with Benjamin Netanyahu? He's your hero.
He's a hero. He should be all of your heroes.
Benjamin Netanyahu is actually America first. I'm not. Benjamin Netanyahu is. But really quick, Tyler, I want to ask you this question because
we'll come to the audience in a bit. By the way, a perfect time to segue to this. Here in about 10 minutes, we're going to let y'all go to closings. I'm going to give y'all 5 minutes each for closings. And then, since this is such a good topic, we all going to go to the audience, and y'all are going to get a chance to do audience questions. So y'all have about 10 minutes, and then we'll go to closings. And then you audience people, y'all start thinking of questions. And then chat. I encourage chat. Y'all also to get in on this. I will ask the questions if y'all super chat. And if you have a really good one in super chat, don't super chat. Well, fuck you. You should have super chatted. But if you're here at the debate event, you'll get your question. All right, go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry I cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you did that because I forgot the question that I was going to ask for a second because I have been drinking. And then I remembered it the last fucking
listen,
minute.
I speak drunkenese. I know, bro.
Yeah, so I got it the last minute. But I wanted to ask Tyler this specific question here. Tyler doesn't believe any of the quote unquote propaganda that's being said on Benjamin Netanyahu. He is not a war criminal. He's not depriving food from the Gazan people. He's not doing any of that shit, right? Now, let me ask you this. Tyler, would you be 100% okay with would you be 100% okay with Benjamin Netanyahu being investigated for these war crimes and being found in
Depends on who's doing the investigation. I think the UN has proven themselves.
Do you want Israel to do an investigation?
I want the United States to do the investigation.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that question there with Tyler.
Nothing to hide. We're gonna.
Okay, so I just want you to know that he's trying to. Last question. Do we have time for?
You have plenty of time.
Okay, so really quick, Tyler. Something kind of bothered me. You know who Brandon Officer Tatum is?
Yeah, he's kind of an idiot.
Okay. So hold on really quick. There was one stream that I had with you. I think it was on Grid One Motorsports. We were hanging out, and
Name drop. Woo,
yeah, shout out to Grid One, man, for setting this shit up. 100%. But there was something that you said in that exchange because we do fight about this a lot. Where you stated that, well, the people of Gaza fucked around and they found out. That was that was literally a quote from him, right? We agree with that.
Hell yeah.
So Officer Brandon Tatum made a similar claim on Pierce Morgan.
Push that button. They keep saying your mic's not on. Yeah. Okay. Say something real quick.
Yes.
Can y'all hear him?
Press it again.
Yeah, press it again.
All right, say something.
Floppy donkey wiener.
Okay.
That is a word.
Oh yeah, you just gotta speak closer to it when you're talking, Tyler. You very slow.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Jake. I apologize again.
It's just low.
Yeah, we'll fix this. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
I apologize for interrupting you again. Very unprofessional of you. Go ahead, Jake.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Put his time back up.
Yeah, he's got time. Don't worry. Go ahead.
It's all good.
I got a timer thing going.
Yeah, so I was going to mention Brandon Tatum. He was on Piers Morgan. I want to get your opinion on what he stated on that show. So Brandon Officer Tatum stated that the Israeli government has no duty to even feed these people. They're allowed to block out, which, by the way, you're very outdated on your counterpoints, because people like Brandon Officer Tatum can admit that it is a genocide and that it's totally okay that Israel is starving these people because they started the war, right? The war. So Officer Brandon Tatum in that podcast stated, you know what? Israel has the right to starve the 2 million people there. The fact that they feed them, they should be grateful, but they have the right to basically commit a genocide on the Gaza people, right? This was his claim. Do you agree with Brandon Officer Tatum?
No, I was when Saudi Arabia.
He's more of a fucking Zionist than you know.
Saudi Arabia was actually starving Yemen when there is actual starvation that can be proven and actual malnourishment that can be proven going on.
Yeah.
Was not in favor of that. I sided with Bernie on that one. So
Okay.
if the context is correct, I would agree with you. It really just depends on the context.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, he did make that claim. I
get
thought it was
my
wild.
news- I get my news from the news. I get my quotes from Bibi and the government and Trump
And Israel.
I don't go to Brandon Tatum for my political education. So yeah, he's
No,
the kind of no hate for Brandon Tatum. You did good with your platform. Obviously, you know how to build a show and you're entertaining. But maybe leave the Israel arguments to people that are a little bit more.
By the way, Brandon says that he's not getting paid by Israel. He probably should, because he's after Charlie's death, he's become one of the biggest shills for Israel.
Yeah.
Well,
kinda
so
weird.
so the chat actually brought this up, and I kind of comes back to an earlier point. You just brought up the feeding thing again, and I like, all right, Sun Tzu in the Art of War talks about one of the first things you should take out is food supply, and the chat is saying Israel isn't required to feed Gaza. Do you think they're required to feed Gaza?
The people of Israel?
Yeah, do you think Israel's required to feed Gaza?
Yeah, Gaza's not a solvent state.
So what about Egypt? Does Egypt also share that responsibility since they share a border with them, and they're not allowing them to be a solvent state?
Well, the thing is that Israel occupies Gaza. They're in that. So, Egypt does not have anything to do with the Gaza Strip. So this is why their salvation relies on Israel. This is what becomes their.
So that's why you think Israel has the burden of feeding Gaza.
I agree.
Well, it's not really a burden.
So both of y'all agree with
It's
this.
not really a burden because Israel does
when I
want
say
that land.
burden, I use it loosely. Let's not. I'm not gonna be. We're not gonna destiny word choice debate here.
Sure,
today,
sure.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I do think they have the responsibility because remember they're not. They're not solvent, right? They do rely on outside sources. So Israel does have the responsibility on that. In fact, Israel could 100% take out all of the fucking food that's going into Gaza. That is just true. They could fucking do that. Do I think that's wrong? Yes, I do think that's wrong. I think they should. But I do see a lot of Zionists. I think Tyler's a lot more reasonable, but I do see Zionists such as Brandon Tatum stating crazy shit like they have the right to completely starve out Gaza. And I think this is where the narrative is, because I think a lot of people like Brandon Tatum, Ben Shapiro, these fuckers cannot argue the fact that this is a genocide. And so they're just saying, yeah, fuck it. These people fucked around and found out, similar to what fucking Tyler told me in the debate that I had with him on Grid Ones. So that's why I asked you the question. Like, do you support that? You said no. That's you would say that's disgusting.
It's pretty off, unhinged.
Unhinged.
Yes,
Okay.
there's no genocide going on, in my opinion. Actually, I think factually there's no genocide going on. I'll just put that in the closing statements. I do have a question for you, because I did mention a lot more in my introduction about global hegemony and why it's important to have a foothold in this region because of oil, how 30% of the oil on the world market not coming out because bad forces got a hold of these very important trade routes could completely destabilize the world's economy. It could completely see our inflation skyrocket. It happens all the just a ship blocking that the Suez Canal, I think it was, for 2 weeks, completely destroyed economies around the world for months afterwards. So would you not argue that we need a U.S.-based ally in the region, and Israel fits the bill significantly better than anyone else in that?
I think Israel's more of a liability than they are an asset. Like because the thing is with when it comes to,
but would you agree
better
that
than anybody in the region, Tyler? You think they're better? You would say that Israel is a better ally in the region than somebody like Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
who's actually sent troops to fight.
Saudi
with
Arabia
us.
just killed a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, and by the way, Israel never
Israel
send
killed
troops.
several U.S. citizens when they bombed the boat.
That was in the 60s. This was a couple of years ago. The current administration in Saudi Arabia killed a U.S. citizen because he reported poorly on them.
One
On top
U.S.
of that,
citizen compared to 37 deaths in 1965 and over 100 injuries in the USS Liberty.
The captain of that ship said that Israel did not do intentionally.
The captain of that ship had a U.S. flag flying on the
When we look
ship,
at the picture
and
of that,
Israel
it's
said,
tiny.
"Oh yeah, that's our enemies. They bombed them for fucking an hour, bro."
Mhm.
And the excuse is our bad, my bad, didn't know that. Oh, we bombed Christian churches in Gaza. My bad, that was also a mistake.
Never happened. They bombed the building next door.
No, they bombed the
They
churches,
bombed the
bro.
building next door, and
No.
the wall of the church came down. That was it. The whole
That's
church is
not true,
still
Tyler.
standing.
That is Israel propaganda. They
It's still
bombed
standing.
Christian churches in Gaza, and then you are a Christian, correct?
No, atheist.
Oh,
I go to a
fuck,
Christian.
never
I go to a
mind.
Christian church to support my wife.
Okay, well, God
Shout
bless
out
your
Tyler's
wife. God bless your wife.
I'm going to
here.
give you all another 5 minutes to go, and then we're going to go to closings. So you have 5 minutes to argue about whatever you want. And then we're going to close closings, and then we'll go to the audience. So go ahead.
Okay, well, let's kind of bring up the whole narrative here. For example, Tyler, do you think that people like Tucker Carlson is one of the worst anti-Zionists for the movement?
He is anti-Israel, but it seems to be more of if you look at his history, what he said in the past for different, like, why should my kids die for Estonia? It looks like he's more of an isolationist than he is anti-Israel. I think Nick Fuentes, there's some key points you can pinpoint to say he is absolutely anti-Semitic.
He's my Mexican brother, by the way. I think
Fuentes,
Fuentes.
It's not directed at Israel. It's not directed at certain like military actions that the United States government takes. It's directly at the people who Israel represents, the J ethnicity. So I'd say Nick Fuentes is kind of that ship has sailed to say he's just an isolationist that doesn't like the Israeli state being where it is.
Okay, I'll tell you this, man. Because we're going to go into kind of like these influencers, because I am kind of curious on your opinion on this stuff, right? Nick Fuentes. Do I like the guy? To be honest, I kind of do. I do agree with a lot of the stuff that
Would
he
you
says.
watch gay porn with him?
Now we're getting to the real
I'm not
question.
Destiny, bro.
Well, Destiny would make gay porn.
Oh, yeah, you would make gay porn.
Just kidding. These are jokes, Twitch and YouTube. And anybody listening, don't show up at my house like you showed at Lauren's this week, Destiny. Just kidding.
But I will tell you this. Yeah, I do like Fuentes. I think he says a lot of good things. Is he over exaggerated at times? Sure, I totally get you there. One thing that I would have I think one thing that's kind of brought up with people that are concerned about him is that he's a Nazi supporter, etc. Can we say that shit, right?
You can
Nazis,
say, yeah.
Okay, cool. And this is kind of like the concern when it comes to Fuentes, right? Now, do they have a point that this could lead to Nazi ideology? Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, like Hitlerism, I think when it comes to Fuentes and his followers, they use Hitler as a kind of like mascot, as a fuck you to the
I get it.
to the Zionist community.
I was in high school too. I used to draw swastikas of Seamaji myself, and yeah.
Sure. And again, this is Gen Z right here. I think that's what it is. But however, even if they push that rhetoric, I don't think people following Fuentes in 10, 20 years are going to resort in Hitlerism. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's more of a nationalistic Christianity movement. They're not going to resort to Hitlerism. Maybe there's some few extremists, maybe, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to be the ending message. And I think Zionists are overreacting to Fuentes. Do you agree with me on that, or?
I'd say there's probably some overreaction to it. Absolutely. I'd say that, yeah, I think something like the best disinfectant, we should let him talk. We should get him into as many debates with people that are informed as possible and expose the fact that he's just kind of an idiot.
Well, that's good. I mean, especially Well, that's a good ending point for now. Let's get to closings. Who was the AF? You were the AF. So you get to go first.
Okay, absolutely. So I kind
of
of
5 minutes.
I want to restate a little bit from my introduction. That was not disputed. We definitely, Jake didn't dispute me on any of the interventionist claims, showing that America becomes a better country as a result of Israel and global hegemony in general, lower cost of living, more peaceful world, higher consumer confidence globally. We see a vast amount of trade, bringing the cost of goods down in the United States, and the result is a better life situation for everybody here. America First is benefited by interventionism, as backed up by the person who is leading the America First movement. Next, with Israel in specific, we need somebody in that area to do oversight, give us intel, be a staging ground for the United States, and oversee the 30% of oil that runs through that region, as well as vastly more trade. So on top of that, going back into the genocide claim, I think the two factors here we saw were what was being bombed, and most of that was met with Israeli intelligence showing hospitals. Hospitals were staging grounds. This has been proven time and time again. They've raided them with cameras. They've shown satellite information. When Gaza was releasing hostages, Hamas fighters walked out of a hospital with rifles with those hostages. They were holding that hospital at the time and using it for a military staging ground while they were releasing hostages in a ceasefire deal. They exposed themselves. They've said countless times on the world stage, it's not just Israel. They want to wipe out all Jews worldwide. They are openly for this. They openly say they will let the Gazan people die for the cause. Iran backs martyr funds. They literally pay Gazans who are hungry. They've been hungry long before the war because Hamas keeps them that way. They'll pay these Gazans to have a family member die on camera. They're called martyr funds. You can go look that up as well. Once they die on camera, their family is taken care of. They're extorting the welfare of their family to get somebody to commit suicide for PR causes. We can see that the terror tunnels, you question the international aid. These terror tunnels were built because of international aid going into Gaza without proper oversight. They took millions of tons of concrete meant for bunkers for the Gazan people and instead turned them to terror tunnels that Hamas uses to stage war. This is what happens when UN international aid goes in unsupervised. Israel said during this war, no more of that. If your aid is improperly supervised, vetted, and distributed the way we say, you're not going in. And the UN threw a shit fit. They held up their trucks for 6 months. And then guess what? They eventually conceded, and now 2.2 million meals are being distributed a day. This was a squabble between two different entities. At the time, the Palestinian people were feeling the hurt, but that's because their government attacked Israel. To say that Israel does not have the right to go in and respond to a blatant attack just because they have better weapons is saying essentially the U.S. doesn't have the same right. The U.S. didn't have the right to go against Japan for Pearl Harbor. Distinguishing this is absolutely a war. A crime was committed against Israel. They were attacked. It started a war. Israel was responding. The quote I want to say here is, a lie gets around the world before the truth has the time to lace up its boots. We had claims of genocide, claims of war crimes, claims of famine, all of which have now been refuted, but it took 2 years and multiple investigations. The investigation into war crimes was done by the Biden State Department, someone who is not known for being super pro-Israel. They were trying to stop Israel from even going into Rafah. They did an investigation into all the claims of war crimes done with U.S. aid and found zero proof that they actually happened. Most of them were partial information. And then we saw it deeper. Amnesty International, one of the people making the claims, they did an internal review of the study that said war crimes were being committed and found out extreme amounts of bias and selective information were used to come to those conclusions. So even the organizations claiming war crimes vetted their own claims and found that they weren't verified. Israel has had enough proof to back that they are doing the right thing on several levels, and the fact that they're actually putting significant amounts of effort and money into taking care of the Palestinians, something Hamas is not doing. Hamas is actively killing their own people. If they don't help them in the war effort, Israel's saving them. I'd say that Gaza is probably responsible for almost as many civilian deaths Hamas is responsible for almost as many civilian deaths within Gaza as Israel is at this point. Almost, not as many, but almost, because they are shooting. Multiple surveillance footages shows them executing their own people. So I'd say it's going to take a couple of years for a lot of my claims to be fully vindicated by a third party, because investigations take time, whereas a lie, you can just go online and say it and people are going to repeat it. So I won't be vindicated until this war is over and we've had time for people to go in and take a look at everything. But as of the information I see right now, mostly all Israeli actions, and I do say mostly because there are a few you can name: a girl's car getting 300 bullets shot into it, the ambulance that did contain 3 members of Hamas, but it contained also 14 other people that was blown up, and then Israel told 3 different stories about the headlights not being on. There are instances where Israel's not done a good thing, but you see Israel punishes their own troops for it. They send people to jail in their own country for crimes against Gazans. All it has to be is proven. Even the most recent one, the Great video that came out, that person is currently under investigation and suspended from the army. There's just every instance of Israel doing a bad thing is followed up with Israel taking responsibility for it and punishing their own people. There's no instances of Hamas going too far in their government, not just patting them on the back and saying, do more. So one side is adhering to the rules of war. The other side is fighting a PR campaign. Israel can lose the PR campaign all day because they are crushing in that war. They took out 6 fronts. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Go ahead. Starting out. While you go, Jake, you got 5 minutes. I'm going to usually take a little leak break before we get to the audience questions, but you go ahead.
Bro, I need to take a leak too. So
all right, well, then we'll just let you go, and then that way I'll
okay,
go and you'll be done. You got 5 minutes.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, so Tyler's whole spurg out right here in his closing statement was essentially just his opening statement all over again. That's all Tyler was doing. No closing at all on that. But let me give you my perspective on how the debate went, guys. The debate went where Tyler is 100% committed to the genocide of Israel because it's a war, bro. It's a war. They're feeding them, etc. Which, by the way, I addressed multiple claims that he even addressed it right now in his closing statement that Israel basically their whole claims isn't backed up by any administration. Nothing. No third party investigation. Nothing. It's just believe me, bro. Shit. That's all it is. Israel just says, believe me, bro. You know, Hamas is taking food and they're just selling it off to other Gazans. No claims, not at all. None of it's proven. He also stated in his closing statement that, nah, man, it's going to take a couple years before, this is going to be proven, etc. And it's kind of like, wait a second, bro. Fucking, we were being told that Hamas was using them as human shields. It's just human shields in hospitals, etc. And it's kind of like, well, hold on a second. Would you use the fucking human shield argument if somebody went into a school and took children hostage in a school and the police decided to, they're using those kids as human shields. Let's bomb the whole fucking school. Nobody here in this fucking room would say that these robbers were using those kids as human shields. That's ridiculous. Especially, again, like I mentioned before as a metaphor, it's Andre the fucking Giant versus a baby. It's not even fucking close when it comes to that. Literally over 500,000 soldiers that are in that army compared to 20,000 Hamas members. Not even fucking close. So he fails on that. He also failed to actually give me an argument about the food supply, where Israel is actually destroying crops. They're destroying wheat mills. They're destroying all these areas to the point where they've wiped out 95% of the cattle and the sheep in Gaza, which is going to take decades to recover from. Okay. And he says, no, they're not intending to starve these people. It's war, bro. No, it's not fucking war. This is just Andre the Giant stepping on babies. That's all it is. That's all it is. And again, even if you look at the numbers that he accepted 72,000 deaths in 2 years, Hamas, they on October 7th, 1,000 people. And according to Tyler, they've killed another 2,000, maybe 3,000 or so. Is this really a war, or is this them fucking getting just absolutely obliterated by a genocide? And by the way, again, people agree with me on this. Scholars from the genocide conference has agreed with this. Scholars had said what Israel's doing right now is a genocide. Tyler is totally okay with that, and is totally okay with our tax money and the U.S. tax money that we have funding a genocide right now at the moment. Cut off all these funds, or partially weed it off, I would say. But at the end of the day, take it all out. Gibbs, get the fuck off your phone and go ahead. I'm done.
Listen, I got the timer here. You still got a minute left. Huh?
My button, I pressed it once on accident.
Yeah, if you press it once, it's muted. You want it out. You want it out.
Yeah, you want it out.
Okay. And I was, listen, Papa gives us a multitask. I'm sitting here responding to the chat. Chat wants me to ask you one question, but I'm going to let you go to the restroom.
Yeah, I need to take a fucking leak, guys.
And then we'll get to the audience questions. We'll take 2 minutes here. Then we'll get to audience questions, folks. So go ahead and take a leak. And if you need to, I'll let you go.
Perfect time to announce that Jake and I are actually forming a podcast. We're going to do once a week. So you can see that, we disagree on things and can get along. And we're probably going to hang out after this. So, Good times.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Look forward to that. It will be have it. Yeah, you don't got to take us off the air. I will bullshit until then. But yeah, we'll check out his podcast. It's good stuff. Tyler is on my shows regularly as well. He's one of my people we love. He's also going to be in the Contender Series, which is our ending of our debate championship series. This is my thing. We're going to be doing an IRL debate championship series, hopefully this week with him and Fabian Liberty. So it should be good. What was the topic on that?
We haven't landed on either public schools are good, he wants to argue bad, or the FDA is good and he wants to argue bad.
Yeah, that'll be on my channel probably later this weekend, hopefully. If not, then we'll get it done soon online. And so once again, thanks to our wonderful host, Grid, for paying and providing for this wonderful place and setting up all these debates. And thanks to all the audience members for being here. We have some questions coming in here that I've been told to ask. And so I'm excited here to get to this in a moment.
If you want to answer any of mine.
What?
If there's any from me, we can.
We'll just wait for both of them.
Okay.
This has been good so far. I think coming up later, I don't know if for sure Fabian Pentuple's going down. I know that's later. And then we have Rob versus Tom Fulry, I believe, is the other scheduled debate for tonight. So we have many things that are going to be going on. It's going to be exciting. We're just getting started. It's going well so far. That's been good. I've enjoyed this. How have y'all enjoyed the format, audience? Y'all big fans so far? Y'all enjoyed the debates? Yeah, the audience enjoys it. Woo! All right. So we have our first question, and then we'll go to y'all. The first question was, push the wrong button here. Why would, excuse me, I clicked something here. And it's gone. Why would a genocide nation, as you claimed, of Israel provide resources and warnings of bombardment to Gaza? I guess that's the EU, Jake, and then I'll let y'all know.
Bombs and stuff I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, the whole idea that, it's not a genocide because, for example, the population has grown in Gaza since XYZ, etc., and they're still feeding them, so therefore it can't be a genocide. But that idea is fucking retarded because after October 7th, we saw cuts going down. I'm talking post-October 7th, and I've been very clear on this, pre-October 7th, post-October 7th, okay? If the chatter wants to make the claim like, they're feeding them. Yeah, they cut it down by 80.
Bombs specifically they're asking about. Why would they bomb a building with a knock bomb to warn the civilians before bombing the building if it were trying to just kill all the civilians?
Oh, okay. Yeah. For that, for sure. I would say that's just to look good on the public stage of things, right? This is again the propaganda on this. Oh, you guys have 5 minutes to get out of the area, right? Which they don't even deliberately give them enough time to get out of there in the first place. So all of the circumstances and the stats that they give these fucking people aren't even enough time to even shoot it out. At the end of the day, they're still killing out. Again, according to my stats, what I believe, over 100,000 clearly have been murdered by Israel, which is a result of 20,000 young children. So this is why it's just to kind of look good on the.
I'll let you respond to that, and then we'll go to the audience.
Generally, I think it speaks. It's just one of the many factors I brought up, speaking to Israel's intent to provide protection and not harm civilians. Again, like they've been trying efforts. They've moved 1.1 million people out of Gaza City. They have them sheltered, fed, clothed, and well taken care of. 1.1 million out of Gaza City.
They took 1.1 million people out of Gaza City, even though currently right now the population is a little under 2 million.
Yes. So what happened?
So then the population.
Originally, they went into Gaza City. They took out 400,000 people. I said this at one point during the debate.
I heard that.
People moved them to Rafah. They took about 800,000 people out of Rafah.
They took them to Rafah
and took them back to Gaza City. And then they moved 1.1 million people out of Gaza City into a secure location so they could go back into the Hamas stronghold.
Okay, go on.
So that's all. I think it shows their intent and that they're really trying to protect the Palestinians significantly more than Hamas is their own government.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the audience. Who has questions? Anybody got questions, audience? All right, this guy right here.
Does he need a mic?
Yeah.
I think
you could just.
Who's your question for him?
Here for you.
Okay, then take his.
Yeah, just come yell. Yeah, you come on up. Come over by me, and you can yell by me.
All right. So Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Under the UN Genocide Convention of 1948, genocide requires three things: intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group.
Mm-hmm.
Would you not agree that there was still a form of clear intent that erasure of civilians was okay, as the lowest estimation of 60% plus of civilian homes resulted in destruction, based upon actions chosen, even in pursuit of your justification, being so-called tunnels.
You said civilian homes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd say that if you were arguing that there was a genocide against homes, then you might have something there. But the fact that they were relocating the people out of those homes prior to, many of them were held there by gunpoint by their own government, but they attempted to move these people out of that area prior to bombing, which is the 400,000 people out of Gaza City before they initially went in. And that's when the actual massive destruction to homes happened. I'd say that shows their intent to preserve as many lives from that ethnicity as possible with still maintaining a war.
Okay, so that removes the first qualifier to the definition that's provided, intent to destroy. So regardless if you remove them or not, it's still destroyed. That's still part of the genocide towards the people.
Intent to destroy their homes, their infrastructure?
And just intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group.
Yeah, but not their homes. It's an intent to destroy the group itself, not where they live.
No, that's the third qualifier.
What do you mean? Read it to me one more time. Third qualifier.
And not only that, too, that first word there is nation. Nation.
A national, ethnic, or racial or religious group. I don't know what that has to do with their homes.
Still a nation. They're attacking the nation's homes. It's destroying their homes.
Yeah, but the word group there implies it's people specifically. It's a group of people. Their homes are just their domiciles, and if they relocated those people out of their homes to destroy those homes because of the tunnels and tunnel entrances and whatnot.
So you think that it's a good justification to destroy people's homes?
Yes.
Cool.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, who else has got a question for us? Hey, all right, there in the back. What you got for us, Papa? You come stand by me and ask.
Who's the question for?
Yeah, who's the question?
All right.
Okay,
my spot.
I'm gonna go kiss my wife. You don't want to be on camera.
Tyler, go make out with your wife, Tyler. Oh, hey, Tyler, me too.
Yeah. Since you was up, redneck word of the day. Since you was.
You don't want to be on camera.
No, okay, that's fine. Just stand right here. You just stand right here. Yeah, you can just tell.
Yeah, you just ask the question over here,
Yeah,
bro.
just,
All right. Well, with this kind of line,
sure.
so basically, do you agree with the definition of genocide he just provided?
Absolutely not.
All right, the question was, Chad, if y'all can't hear,
The definition that Tyler was explaining in the debate, you mean?
Johnny MD donated $20. Super chat.
What's the difference?
So there I was.
We got a
True
super chat.
story.
So there I was. True story by Johnny MD. Thanks so much for the $20. The question was, gentlemen, would you repeat the 3 segments again? I apologize.
Yeah. Under the UN Genocide Convention of 1948, genocide requires intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group.
Yeah, I would agree with that definition.
Okay. Is a single person a part of an ethnic or religious or any of those groups?
As an individual,
Yes.
I think multiple people can be.
No, that wasn't the question. The question was.
Yeah, a single person can be, but also multiple people can be. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's it. Come on, man.
What else we got questions
All right,
for y'all?
cool.
Anybody?
Cool,
Peter
cool.
Gallery, anybody else? Pentuple, I know you got a question, Pentuple. You've been.
Yeah.
He's
a Juiceberg.
Hold on. I know Pentuple's got a hard hitting question. He's been in the Duke chat screaming about it for weeks. What do you got a question here? Tell me.
Come
Just
on.
warm up, bro.
Get up here and give us your Fluentes quote of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, it looks like that's all we got here. Any other thoughts before we leave here? This has been a very entertaining one. You know, we got another super chat. So there I was still was true story. $10. Johnny MD. There you go. Hey, he's carrying the chat.
Johnny
Don't
MD
really fail
donated
it. I need y'all to
$10.
get y'all's
Super
wallets
chat.
out right now.
Get it
So
out,
there I
baby.
still
Don't
was.
be fucking
True
pinche,
story.
and I need y'all to get it out and spend money. That means fucking cheap where I'm from. So here, get your money out. Donate. Grid has spent a lot of money making this event real nice. Set up a live show. This shit's hard, and we have a very volunteer tech team. Shout out to our tech team who've been all volunteers that helped us out. Big fans of that. Woo! Yeah, and thanks to all the debaters so far. It's been very good. Yeah, this has been good. I got a question since the audience does it before we close. Yeah. So, which one of y'all is going to make me more money in the long run, and why?
I will.
Probably Jake, because
Wait,
I'm just
really?
here for fun, and I just love.
No, I meant about the fucking the Israel
Oh.
debate, not about which one of y'all I'm gonna mooch off of, which I'm gonna do that later. But no, I'm talking about which one of y'all is gonna make me more money and why is it gonna make me money?
Oh,
And y'all-
Israel gonna make you more money. It's always hands down because they are the dominant military force in the region. They're not gonna lose to some sticks and stones people, even if they attack them 6-on-1. Boy, this is their third war where they were attacked by 6 fronts that they won.
All right, tell me why he's wrong.
Yeah, I don't give a shit what the fuck he was saying, but I will tell you this: I will make more money for you, Gibbs, because at the end of the day, I've never lost a debate at all since I've been streaming. Never lost a day in my fucking life. I've destroyed every single opponent in front of me, including Tyler tonight. So
Yeah,
again,
let's get
Gibbs,
some ones for Tyler,
so-
for Jake, 2s for Tyler.
I'm not gonna win that.
Yeah, let's do ones. Ones in the chat for me because I know I just absolutely obliterated Tyler. And so, Gibbs, my argument is saying, yeah, fucking, I will make you more money in the long run because when I go onto your show, you're gonna get that fucking dinero, bro.
The dinero.
Yeah.
He brings a whole different demographic.
They might be a little racist though. I'm just
Yeah.
FYI.
It's all right. You can't read it without a translator.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I've never once had a racist pop in my chat.
No, but again, Jake and I are starting a podcast. As you can see, we disagree. I consider myself the only honest left-wing streamer left.
He
I
is.
don't believe
That
any
is
of
true.
that gender crap.
Yep.
I'm going to argue actual, real Democrat policies that work instead of the newest thing because I want to get attention online. And we get along really well.
Tyler, you're a
I got another
covert
super
Republican,
chat,
bro.
super
That's
chat
for
real
sure.
quick. Johnny with another
Johnny
$10.
MD donated
Cheers to the
$10.
couch. By
Super
the way,
chat.
if you harbor terrorists
Cheers
as
to the
civilians,
couch.
you are a terrorist.
BTW, if you harbor terrorists as a civilian, you are a terrorist.
Not a journalist. Not a terrorist. No. All
We
right.
didn't even get to the journalist point.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, it is.
This was your debate. You should have done better. I
No,
guess.
we just need more
But I
time.
think this is the best debate tonight.
We needed more time. We could have used another hour. I still wanted to go into like his definition of war and how it's kind of being selectively.
Yeah, well, you
used.
didn't do it, Tyler. So
I know,
shut the
we need
fuck
more
up.
time.
That's too bad. You like it. I guess we'll call it a this note. It looks like we got a chat vote of 4-3, and it looks like Jake got that 4.
Yeah, I don't think I was gonna win chat in here.
Yeah, you struggle with the chat. I guess they all hate you.
Chad hates me always. It is what it is. Fuck you, Chad.
I like you though.
but
Don't
give
worry.
Grid some money.
Yeah, give Grid money. All right. Well, who is next? Pintumble, are you debating next? Is that what?
Yes,
the
he
plan?
is.
Oh, hi, Sadie. Nice to see you. Shout out to the Sadie.
Yeah, Sadie. Woo!
All right. Well, on that note, y'all are dismissed. Thank y'all so much. We love y'all.
All right, yeah, Jake and I got to pop back to my B&B for a minute.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're lucky. Lucky y'all.
Stick around.
I'll see y'all after.
Everybody on YouTube, stick around because it will redirect you to the next video, the next debate that starts at 6 o'clock.
All right. Yeah. So we're gonna be here. Well, shit. I mean, we could just stay live. I mean, it's only 15 minutes.
Well, they want to break it up so it's easier for the content creators to click.
Perfect. All right. So here, 15 minutes. We will be live again, chat. We will be having Fabian Liberty versus Pintemple. What's the topic?
Is Donald Trump the most socialist president in our lifetime?
All right. And so the topic is going to be
Ox
between
Caxo
MAGA
donated
headquarters and a
$10.
libertarian.
Super
Is
chat.
Donald Trump
Good
the most
debate,
socialist
fellas.
president
Saluting
of
face
our
emoji.
lifetime? I guess if you're really old, that's going to depend. But I guess in recent memories. So I'm excited. It's going to be good. We'll see y'all here in about. Oh, we got another super chat from OX Cat XO. Good debate, fellas, for $10. Thank you so much. We will see you in about 15 minutes. Stick around. Bye.